straight talking style, no nonsense chit chat. Oh no, Nora, that's where it's at. Oh no, hot dog holding people's feet to the fire, spilling out the truth, never feeling tired. Nora brings the heat, everyone's wired. Oh no, Nora, what you inspire. No hot dog holding people's feet to the fire, spilling out the truth, never feeling tired. Nora brings the heat, everyone's wired. Oh no, Nora, what you inspire. Oh no, Nora, you make it sing, facts and laughter. You always bring straight to the point, no messing around. Oh no, Nora, we hear your sound. In the spotlight, you're shining bright, brighten up the dark like a city light, leading us through with your honest might. Oh no, no, Nora, you got it right. Nora won't stop, will never slow down, spreading all the joy all over town. Oh no, hot dog turning our frown into a smile. Oh no, Nora, for the crown. Oh no, Nora, you make us sing, facts and laughter. You always bring straight to the point, no messing around. Oh no, Nora, we hear your sound. Oh no, Nora, you make us sing, facts and laughter. You always bring straight to the point, no messing around. Oh no, Nora, we hear your sound.
Live from the garage. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. Holy cannolis. Guys, gals, all the peeps, folks. Whew. This one is gonna be extra spicy. Extra spicy on the burnt biscuits? Yes. 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 I will keep an eye out in the chat here, guys. My mods are busy, and that's okay. But we're gonna... What's up, John Shamwowski? I did get Peanut! John, I got Peanut. Thank you for the Snoopy. Peanuts. Snoopy. The Snoopy dog. Boop. Thank you, John. Just adding to my collection up here. It is so much fun. Please hold, guys. I'm going to mute myself for just one. Sorry, guys. Family first. The oldest is off to work. And I wanted to wish him well. You know, these are the important things. Gotta talk to the kiddos. And, you know, he's heading into the garage here. So, yeah, why not? Does that go down? No, it doesn't go down more. Okay. So, yes, if you're Osar the Troll, please, 2 downvotes already. And I haven't even spoken. This is going to be delicious. Delicious. Let's see. It's working. Delicious. We are going to start our journey today. As you guys may have seen in the, you know, caption there in the thumbnail, that is a young Mr. Rinder. I'm going to break down my hypothesis here, okay, with a little more detail, because I've said it before that I think that this is a long con. I think this whole thing is one long Scientology op, and we're going to start out on this adventure together. All right, we are going to go here. Oh, breaking news. Breaking news. Guys, Sunny Pereira cannot keep her memory straight. She should see a doctor about that. She's only a few years older than me, but perimenopause can be a bitch, Sunny, and you should get some help for that. Okay. She just posted this literally 4 minutes ago. Breaking news. Oh no, Nora making up facts again. She says, I got to move myself here, guys, so you guys can see. She said Rinder ran the op against Leah when Leah asked where Shelley was at Tom Cruise's wedding. Rinder was out of Scientology in 2007, November to be exact. Tom Cruise's wedding was in 2013. No, it wasn't. Facts don't matter to Nora. Just make stuff up. Sunny, sweetheart. Hi. That's incorrect. Tom Cruise's wedding was in 2006. 2006. You know how we know that? How old is Suri Cruise? Or Suri Noel? She's 18. Let's do some math. For fun. Let me pull up my handy dandy calculator that my math teacher says you'll never have a calculator in the palm of your hand. It's 2024 minus 18. Oh, 2006, dummy. Jesus Christ. Because who was also at the wedding? Baby Suri. So, Sunny, it's on your phone. It's a calculator. You have it. Try using it. But thank you for giving me a good segue into how Scientology just tries to gaslight people forever. And Sunny, nice try, but no cigar, no soup for you. Yeah, this is a flunk. All right, so we're gonna start our journey. Guys, can you see? You can't because I zoomed in too much. Let me zoom out. I'm just going to show you the myriad of tabs I have here. Okay. So here we go. First and foremost, of course, we are going to go over some policy. All right. So I have a couple policies here. One we've gone over before. Okay. So this is from 1972. It's from when it was also was known as the Guardian's Office. Oh, what, you guys can't see this? What's happening? There we go. Hello. Okay, so this is from 1972, when OSA was known as the Guardian's Office. Okay, it's now just the Office of Special Affairs. It just has the one name. They disavow the Guardian's Office, but it was in fact the Guardian's Office for a number of years. Okay. And then, the raid happened, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Who cares? Stop switching off my screen streaming software. Jeez, my thetans are out of control. All right. No, don't you dare quit that. Listen up. Stupid. Turn off. Don't be on in the background. All right. When intelligence fails, it becomes a PR matter. When PR fails, it becomes a legal matter. When legal loses or declines, it becomes an LRH matter. Now, of course, the man was still alive here, okay? It will be found that 1 and 2 are valid for all nations, companies, and individuals at all past times and are valid now and will be valid in the future, okay? Number 3 is peculiar to our situation. But if for LRH you place general manager or head of state, this too will be found valid. This gives you a direct index for precise estimation of where you are at any given instant and where you'll be going. If intelligence isn't onto it, muffs its tech, and isn't handled in time, then it becomes something that PR will have to make do with somehow. I have something on my glasses and it's making it impossible to read. I apologize. Okay. If PR muffs its tech and falls down, then becomes a legal matter. And if legal fails to be aggressive or forgets its tech, here it is with a need for heavy hussar action. This gives you the direction to push back up the scale, okay? So if intelligence doesn't work, right, it becomes a PR matter. When PR fails, it becomes a legal matter. So we can see this demonstrated in Leah Remini. We're going to get to that in a second. All right. The other reference I want to go over here is OSA Network Office of Special Affairs, number 49, from OSA Int, the execs and invest staff. That's who needs to receive this, okay? This is from 1988, originally taken as a dispatch from 1974. L. Ron Hubbard was alive in 74. The Guardian's office was in operation, and then it gets reissued in 1988 after the Guardian's office becomes OSA. Okay. These are the other references it's based off of. Over the years, it's been found that the tactics of certain government agencies involve sending plants into our organization. Now, just a very small definition of plant, that is like an undercover op. I think everybody knows what a plant is. We've all seen, you know, some form of Law and Order, undercover, you know, 21 Jump Street, all this kind of stuff, okay? The system used by the U.S. government in intelligence matters, all services, is to put a clean officer in charge of people with criminal records who have something held over them who can be used as plants. This is an antique as other U.S. intelligence tech is from the dark ages, but it permits you to detect one of their plants. He or she will have some sort of criminal record. Thus, if you want to safeguard against plants or narrow down the field, look for criminal connections or records, right? So they're always trying to find some sort of like fucking, you know, blackmail, essentially, to hold over you. If you find a plant and prove that he or she was sent in by some government agency, this would then be a benefit in any suits against the government. What is really wanted is factual, court provable evidence that a plant was put in, wrong thing to move there, Nora, in an org by one or another government service. Plants can sing, tell all of their information, or can be doubled. Sometimes it takes other evidence to back down the blackmail the government has on them. They're not out there out of any patriotism, so they turn into victims very easily. Okay, so you can flip the plant. You're going to make them a double agent. Okay, that's what it means to be doubled. They're going to become a double agent. An example of this was a plant who was sent into an organization by a government agency using blackmail. This plant managed to get a staff position, stole financial records and money from the org, and blew. The staff members who were handling the situation used a legal instead of an intelligence method. See, notice Elron doesn't want you suing or going about this in a legal way. Must use intelligence. Very important here. Instead of an intelligence method of handling, they sued the plant, which brought about chaos. A quiet, personal touch approach to the plant and the grand larceny threat might have done a great deal, while a battering arrest got nowhere. One must realize that arrest processes are not effective today, and courts are not trustworthy in such matters, as proven by the high crime rate. Intelligence processes are effective in such matters, as they are, in effect, intelligence matters. So if you suspect government infiltration, your instructions would be to find, identify, and prove a plant, if at all possible. Then use that fact in various suits, but don't sue the plant. Okay? So you're just always gathering intelligence to weave, to manipulate, to control. Okay. So we're going to remove these guys. The song, don't worry about that. Where did my crow? Here we go. Back to Sunny. Okay, Sunny. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in and getting it wrong. Please hold. Now, we need to know some facts and figures and timelines about things that occurred in Scientology that are super important, where Mike Rinder comes in, where other people come in, etc. Okay, so first and foremost, let's turn back the clock. Not that one. Nope. We're gonna go over so much stuff here today. Okay, I have lost all my tabs. Doot. Okay. We're going to go here. We'll start here. I'll find it. Okay. So this is an article from She Knows. Okay. And they're going to do a little Pictionary, picture page, you know, sort of let's go through Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes's timeline. And let's do that together. All right. So, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, in 2005, here's Tom and baby Katie. Okay. And they're in Italy, just yucking it up. Here's more of them. Now, he revealed the relationship, blah, 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 blah. Per Vogue, that's now deleted article. Katie Holmes, said when she was a teen, she thought she'd marry Tom Cruise. Okay, weird. We all did. I mean, she's a kid of the 90s and 80s. It's not actually the weirdest thing. Okay. All right. Now, they're just kissing everywhere. Of course, the famous Oprah couch jumping. There's her big fat engagement ring, which at the time was $1.5 million. In today's dollars, it'd probably be even more because it's obviously several carats, right? Okay. This was 2 months they were together in 2005. He's now engaged. All right, there they are. It's so cute. His hair, I like his hair like this, I have to say. It looks good when it's like a little shaggy. It's a good look for his face. Anyway, that was War of the Worlds. There they are again. And now, hot dog, they're not married, but she got Purgaganante. Okay. But that's okay, because look how happy he was, and she was, apparently. Okay. So there they are. They're going to the sporting events. They're going to racing. They're going to all these things. Oh. And then, Sonny, pay attention. On November 18th, 2006, Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise had a star-studded wedding in a castle in Italy. And this is also the end of Leah Remini in Scientology. Because as we all know, we're going to get back to Mr. Rinder here in a minute. Okay. So Leah left officially Scientology in 2013. Okay. And this article is, talking about her current struggles right now, but we're going to go a little pre over that. Okay. This is an article from last year, from August 2nd. Okay. From, of course, Us Magazine. All right. So Leah's been an outspoken critic of the church since she left in 2013. That's a fact. The actress who was brought into the church as an 8-year-old after her mother converted, has been slamming them. The church slammed back, blah, 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 blah. Okay, she filed her lawsuit. And it was because, she left because of her daughter, Sophia. She pulled a Katie Holmes. Okay. She pulled a Katie Holmes. 1 month after her exit from the controversial religion, Remini filed a missing persons report for Scientology leader David Miscavige's wife, Shelley, who's not been publicly seen since 2007. Okay. So she asked about it right after that. Right. And then, this gives a good timeline of how things happened. So then she was on Dancing with the Stars in 2013. Her book doesn't come out yet. Then the documentary Going Clear came out in 2015. She was not a part of that documentary, right? And then her book came out in 2016, right? Her book debuted September 20th, 2016. What also happened in 2016? Her show came out in 2016. So Leah, in 2016, 3 years after officially leaving the church, writes her book. It is published. And then her show comes out the same year. Okay. Now, let's talk about Mike Rinder, Tony Ortega, and Marty Rathbun. These are the three characters we're going to talk about today in regards to everything else. So there's Katie, there's Baby Suri, and there's Tom. Okay. So Mike Rinder left Scientology in 2007, right? According to many stories. He bought cheap clothes, ditched his suit, and found a B&B near Victoria Station, right? According to this article here, and this is from The Guardian, okay? And it is from, I'm trying to find the date. It just says this article is more than a year old. Thanks, Guardian. 2022. Okay, November of 2022. So here's Mike looking very Papa Smurfy, very learned. Okay. So he says, Mike Rinder was so entrenched in the aristocracy of Scientology. This is the article Mike approved. That Tom Cruise gave him birthday presents, a fancy watch, and a set of Bose headphones. He earned a promotion after promotion within the Sea organization, a sort of executive order, was flown around the world and entrusted with taking Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley on a private tour of the Los Angeles Museum devoted to Scientology's founder. But after more than 45 years in the notoriously secretive church, which he now regards as a mind prison, he broke out. 15 years on, okay, so 15 years after he left, he wrote a book about his time inside. Some of the details are eye-watering, but what Rinder's 67, that's how old he was 2 years ago, he's now 69, really hopes is that a billion years, my escape from a life in the highest ranks of Scientology, get it on Amazon, will act, or you get it on his website, he'll send you an autograph copy, will act as a rescue operation for his 2 adult children who remain in the church. Okay. You know, when he was a kid, he enjoyed reading. He walked out of the church's offices in 2007. He walked out of the church's offices in central London and ducked into a doorway. He was 52 then, okay, in 2007. He carried 200 pounds in cash, a credit card, and his passport. As a church executive, he had pursued people who tried to leave. As a church executive, he had pursued people who tried to leave. So he knew what to expect. I needed to get out of sight, remove the batteries from my phones, use only cash, and stay on the move. When he was certain that he wasn't being followed, he caught the tube to the National Portrait Gallery, where he sat on the grass outside and let his heart rate slow to its regular beat. I went, okay, now what? What am I going to do? For the first time that I remember, I wasn't answerable to anyone. He grew up in Adelaide, blah, 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 blah. He ambled through the thing. Okay. Rinder said he plotted his escape for only 3 days before leaving, but it must have taken more than a few days. I have to go back here. He ambled through the galleries, and when he finally came out, he knew what to do. He bought cheap clothes, ditched his suit, and found a B&B near Victoria Station. 2 days later, he flew back to Florida and made contact with other former Scientologists who helped him slowly begin his new life. Okay. Now, we're going to pause here for a second. Who did he contact? Who in 2007 could he have known was a good person to make contact with and slowly begin his now new life? Well, that would be Aaron Smith-Levin. And, of course, his good friend, Marty Rathbun. Okay. So why would he have known that Aaron Smith-Levin would have been somebody good to contact, since Aaron Smith-Levin was under the radar then? He was an outspoken critic, and he was not publicizing that he was not in Scientology. But somehow Mike Rinder knew that he was a safe person to contact if you were leaving the church. Could it be because he was the head of OSA and knew, in fact, that Aaron was out of Scientology and had a file on him and knew exactly how to approach Aaron so that he could then befriend this person and start his very long, very elaborate mission that he's, in my opinion, allegedly still on? Okay. So 2007, Mike's out. 2006, what happened in 2006? Oh, right. Leah Remini was at Tom Cruise's wedding and noticed David Miscavige being a little too close to his personal secretary, Larice Stukenbrock. And she was like, where's Shelley? Where's my homegirl? And Tommy Davis, the then president spokesperson, you know, for Scientology and the Celebrity Center, got right in her face at the wedding. Not later, but at the wedding. Told her, you don't have the fucking rank to ask that question. Which, was really the wrong thing to say to Leah, because that started her on a mission to find out where the fuck her friend was. She wrote KRs. She got sec checked. And then she did a lot of soul searching and was like, something doesn't seem right here. Something is amiss. She kept quiet. It took her a while, but then she left, right? Because it's not an instantaneous thing. Okay? It's not like, I wish. Some people have done that. A few people have been like, fuck this place, and they leave, okay? So Mike would have had full knowledge as the head of the Office of Special Affairs in 2006, Sonny. Let's please keep the timeline straight. That Leah was poking her nose where it didn't belong. Okay. What else was going on in 2006? Well, in 2006, we also had the great John Sweeney incident. Okay. This was the same time period, guys. Tom Cruise is getting married. And we've got John Sweeney firmly up the ass of Scientology trying to find out what the fuck is going on. We have the famous, video of Tommy Davis chomping his guy, like talking to John Sweeney like he's just an animal, right? And then John Sweeney losing his shit finally when he's been bull baited and harassed and followed and fucking intimidated for months, right? I say good for you. Good for you. Okay. So John, this is the incident that supposedly, allegedly broke Mike Rinder, and he left London shortly after this, right? Going the back and forth and all these other things. But he absolutely also would have had pressure on him back in the States, because it was happening concurrently, about Leah. So then magically, mystically, Mike leaves. Now, do I 100% believe that Mike was tortured inside of the Scientology location, international, headquarters location, by being put in isolation in the hole and made to do horrific things in there and completely brainwashed and horrifically traumatized? Yes, I'm not discounting any of that, because Scientology is absolutely beyond belief in the amount of torture and mind games and everything else that they will do. Okay. But we also know that something in this article really bugged me. So Rinder says he plotted his escape. Oh, sorry. You guys can't see it. Okay. But it must have taken more than a few days to undo the decades of belief. After all, he was sufficiently immersed to be convinced of an origin story that involves Xenu, blah, 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 blah. He worked for $50 a week. How did he begin to acknowledge transgressive thoughts, given that he'd been trained to understand them as signs of a reactive mind, as something to be eradicated? He says, and this is where I do not believe, he says it was in the years after David Miscavige, the current leader, became head of Scientology in 1987. Following Hubbard's death, that things started happening to shake my certainty. So, Mike, we are to believe that between the years of 1987 and 2007, that's, now I've lost track of math. Is that 20 years? No, that's 30 years. I got it. I got to use the calculator, guys. 2007 minus 1987. It's 20 years. Okay. See, this, I check my math, guys. Unlike Sonny, I check my math. Okay. So for 20 years, according to that statement, we are supposed to believe that Mike was a non-believer. His certainty in Scientology was shaken while he was executing all of those counterintelligence ops that he did for years? For that whole time? Lisa McPherson, he was just like, I don't know, this seems bad. I don't know. I guess I'll just stand over here on my cell phone intimidating protesters because, that seems like safe thing to do. Let's get the fucking goods on all these guys. But I don't know. I'm shaken. I'm shooketh. Like, wait, what? What? 20 years of uncertainty while you were horrifically targeting people, while you gaslit the entire Sea Org that Marie Bilheimer's fucking husband blew? Uncertain. This is the dumbest thing that he's probably ever said. I mean, did Miscavige give him cause to be a little alarmed at that time because he fucking ousted the brokers who Elron said are my successors? Sure. I believe he became extremely scared of David Miscavige because he's a tiny little terrorist. And he was like, oh, hot dog, what have I got myself into? I think he stayed because he was trying to do the Elron thing, trying to keep Scientology on track and not let David Miscavige, skew it. But it's a great short story because then who's the bad guy? Who's the bad guy? David Miscavige. Never Mike. Okay, so he talks a little bit more in this article about the whole, again, I believe 100% about the whole, having been put under a 24-hour watch myself many times. I do not think he made any of this up, okay? I want to say 100% the whole was real. What happened in the whole, all real, okay? Okay. Remarkably, even after that, Rinder continued in his faith, identifying as a Scientologist while he worked as a car salesman. So this is when he left in 2007. He was working as a car salesman, right? Okay. And so that's when he, started teaming up. When he left, this is his wife. Now remember, when he left, he was, how old was he? It said here, he was 52. Okay. And in true Sea Org fashion, a 52-year-old, married somebody 20 years their junior. So, and I have nothing bad to say about Christy Colburn. She's a good lady and a good mom. So we're going to leave that there. That's just a commentary on Mike. Blah, 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 blah. Woe is me. Did he feel love for his children while he was in the Sea Org? Yes. You can never take away the fact that your biological children are something special to you. What does that even mean? They're special to you when you see them for an hour on Sundays. Yeah. He hopes that Taryn and Benjamin get out and they talk to him one day, blah, 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 buy his book. Okay. So Mike escaped in 2007. And I believe this is when the op on Leah began. Because prior to his escape, okay, we have this man, Marty Rathman, okay, who escaped. Right? So now we have two of the biggest people all of Scientology, okay? And Mike Rinder was even writing on his blog in the early days because they're besties. Okay. I take it back. 2009, Mark Rathman starts his blog. His very first post is right here. Black Dianetics. Okay. And it's actually a good post. He points out, okay, how Miscavige practices reverse Dianetics day in and day out at International Management Headquarters, and how Miscavige avoided meeting with me to discuss the ceasing of that practice. Okay. So this is a quote from David Miscavige. Miscavige, personally verified all the books and lectures, right? This is Freedom Magazine. This was when they responded to the St. Petersburg Time Truth Rundown series, okay? Right? And I should pull that up. Let's pull that up here. St. Petersburg Truth rundown. Okay, so this was written in June of 2009, right? And this is a great series if you've never read it. This goes into great detail about the inner workings of Scientology and everything else. Marty Rathbun was interviewed. A lot of other, there was like a picture of them once. Of all the people that were interviewed for the series. But Marty Rathbun was one of the main things. So, what happened? Where did I go? Let's go here. Let's go here. It's not showing this. I don't know. Will it show this one? Oh, I zoomed into my... Oh, I see what happened. I apologize. It wouldn't be a Nora stream without a technical difficulty. Let's just continue to zoom out. There we go. Perfect. I hit the scrolly thing on the wrong thing. All right. So, yeah. So Rinder, Rathbun, Tom DeVocht, okay, admit that they attacked their colleagues to demonstrate loyalty and Miscavige, right? Okay. So there's a lot of stuff that went down in there. Please do yourself a favor and read this. We're not going to go over that whole thing. So 2009, Mike leaves in 2007. He's just sort of tooling around. 2009, Marty Rathbun, okay, starts his, his blog, okay, with this Black Dianetics, reverse Dianetics, right? Now, this caught the eye of many, Scientologists. Former Scientologists, I should say, because of the way that he's explaining this, it makes total sense. Okay. And you're like, oh, David Miscavige is altering Scientology. Okay. And even Mike Rinder admitted he still considered himself a Scientologist in his early days. Okay. So in this thing, David Miscavige, re-released, he says he personally verified all the books and lectures, their contents and their sequence, so Scientologists can now study their religion in pure form. This is when the basics came out. This is when Scientology was like first rebrand after the Golden Age attack. We're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to re-release all the books because, we found all these mistakes in it. David Miscavige combed every single book, every single lecture, found every typo, every mistake, and personally verified it. Okay. This project alone represented thousands of hours of Mr. Miscavige's time in ensuring every word conformed precisely with Mr. Hubbard's original works by reading and rereading each manuscript and final book, as well as listening to all 2,500 of Mr. Hubbard's lectures. Now, there's one thing I have a question on. Okay, so Marty was actually first. I take that back. Marty left in 2004, okay? And people were waiting and were like waiting with bated breath. What is Marty going to do? What is Marty going to do? Right? So he left in 2004. What else happened in 2004? Let's see here. So Tom Cruise does Collateral. That's a good movie, by the way. Right. And he does a bunch of weird interviews. Okay. That's the 2008 video. And this was when the auditions for A Girlfriend started, right? And where we find out about Nazanin Bondi and all these other things, okay? All of these things always circle back to Tom because David Miscavige is obsessed with him, okay? So 2004, amidst Tom Cruise, being too single and ready to mingle and can't, when did he get divorced from Nicole? 2001. That's right. And he couldn't keep a girlfriend after that. Okay, guys, I was on the RPF when that happened, so I didn't know about it. They didn't tell me. Okay, so let's get back to this here. All right, so now Leah leaves in 2013, but we know in 2006 that she had the audacity at this wedding, where'd it go? To ask where Shelley was in 2006. Mike was still the head of OSA, very much large and in charge, okay? There they are. There's Surrey. Yeah. There they are again. 2007. Okay. Right before Mike leaves. Hey, poor Katie's looking very tired then. Okay. Red carpet. And then there was rumored that she was pregnant again. She wasn't. They went everywhere. Blah, 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 blah. So much hand-holding. 2010. More premieres. 2012. Let's keep going. Okay, so after filing for divorce, we know. And then they got divorced in 2012. So let's keep all these dates in mind. 2006, 2007, 2012. Okay, so in 2006, Leah asks the forbidden question at the wedding of Tom and Kate. Her file is started. The campaign against her is started then. She describes that in her book, Troublemaker. If you've never read it, everything that happened to her from the moment she asked that question to the second she finally stepped out and was like, I'm no longer doing this. It was a long, torturous 6 years for her, okay, of finally making that decision and getting out. Now, in the meantime, as we know, they were desperate to hang on to Katie Holmes and Tom because they wanted Tom to be together, right, with someone. And now he's had a biological daughter. It's a big deal. Okay. But as we know, Katie Holmes, smart diva that she is, figured it out and got out. Okay. So Mike leaves in 2007, hooks up with Marty, who'd been out for 3 years, and Aaron, and starts his journey, right, into a better life. Okay. Leah leaves the year after Katie files for divorce. So Scientology is in free fall. Katie fucking pulled a number on Scientology. Their shit's bad. Now Leah's coming out with a book, with a thing. Okay. And now first, the rumor was that she had hooked up, with Marty Rathbun, right? And stop it. Okay. Right, and here's a thing that was written by, they don't share who, but it's an internal document about Workers' Paradise for Tom Cruise, written by Mark C. Rathbun. Okay. So this is one of the hundreds of reports written by staff members of the Gold Base on the movement statements, likes, dislikes, and other personal matters concerning Tom Cruise. I doubt Tom is fully aware of just how closely David Miscavige micromanages Tom's life. Okay. Dear sir, as info, Mr. Cruise got up at 2:30 p.m. to have breakfast with Kate. Oh, you guys can't see this. There we go. I brought him to building 50 to pick her up, and he asked to see the Harley Davidson so he could show Kate. I pulled out the Harley, and he sat in the middle of the road outside the garage and said he could sit here all day staring at this bike. It is the best Harley and the best paint job he has ever seen. P.S. That was painted for him by Sea Org members, and gifted to him by David Miscavige from funds collected from Sea Org members. Okay. In the same garage on the other side is Mr. Bellin's Ford Mustang. He thought that it was awesome and asked me if I could get a Ford discount on this. He told me that he bought an old GT for Steven Spielberg and maybe he should get a new one for him as a thanks for the film. What film was that? War of the Worlds. And like the same color as the old one and give him a new one as well. I told him I would get him a brochure, etc. He asked Kate if she would like one to drive as he really liked it and wants one. She said yes, and I was already trying to figure out a color. Additionally, I told him that his Triumph, another motorcycle, went in for chrome triple clamps to match the rest of the bike, and that the guy at Triumph went out looking for a black Rocket 3, and there was this gorgeous red gem. The guy asked me how it was done, and it was spectacular, and I told him that there were only 3 motorcycles like that on planet Earth, and it was totally proprietary because they did a paint job from Sea Org members. Mr. Cruz loved this, loved it. Also, he told me that the message system made such a difference already. He does not get disturbed at all and can communicate from within the coach. He wanted to know if it could communicate straight to the BlackBerries of his staff, and I told him we were working on this and that it looked totally possible. Note, Tom Willis has this being done and should be done by tomorrow night, ready for install. I did not tell Mr. Cruz this as Mr. Willis just got this nailed. So they were working on internal communications abilities for Tom, known affectionately as text messaging, but a super secret way for him to use like a computer system just to get messages directly to his people and their BlackBerries, because it's 2005, guys. He asked how Silver Screen was doing, and I told him it was doing very well and that JB was up there. That's John Brousseau. I told him the executives of Marathon know who the coach is for, but not the workers, and none of them have seen the designs. This is a huge like fucking bust. I handled this by removing the personal pictures in the renderings and put a full set on the side of the coach for all workers to see. Since doing this, workers have been originating work late and on Saturdays to get the coach done faster, as they have never produced anything like this before. And the feedback from the audio personnel was that they were learning so much in doing this coach on quality of audio, as well as how much a Crestron can do. Note, Marathon has never had the ACs controlled by Crestron, and we figured out how to do this apparently. For years, this has been a problem for them. I did not tell him this part. He was very happy about this. He asked me when COB was coming back, because you can never say David. You have to refer to him as COB or Captain Miscavige. And I told him I did not know. He mentioned again that he loves the Husqvarna, that is also another motorcycle, and that it is awesome. Additionally, he commented that he loves being at the base and does not want to leave. Just like the ship, there is so much space. He said that his LA house is like a prison. He's stuck behind a gate. He said again that the base was the best place in the world for him. So this is 2005. He's whining and dining Katie Holmes. He has her at the Scientology base behind another gate, Tom. But there's just so much space, you know, and he just doesn't have to lift a finger, and all these people are caring for him. He's just waking up at 2:30 to go see Kate wherever she is, you know. Okay. To give you an idea of the lengths people were going to cater to Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes inside the Church of Scientology. Okay. So Marty is revealing this information in 2009. This is, of course, after Tom and Katie are married and Suri is born. And then, of course, in 2010, Mike Rinder starts his foray into writing. Started writing on Marty's blog because they were besties. They did a whole series of fishing together and everything. Okay? And they used to call it the Church of Miscavigeology, right? And how they're disaffected with that, and it's not really about, you know, that kind of thing. Not too surprisingly, how tech was the most common response. Vulture culture, more horror stories of late night reg visits, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so he's basically, all of this, guys, is exactly out of the OSA playbook. In 2010, he starts talking to ex-Scientologists, free zone Scientologists, like, hey, I'm one of you guys. Tell me what is wrong with Scientology. Tell me what's going on. What's happening, you know? And they don't like, you know, seeing their favorite management people gone. and, you know, the Tom Cruise couch jumping, so out PR, right? Mandatory events. These are all the things that Mike has done in his tech to find out why people are leaving Scientology. Like, who cares? Right? Like, who cares? But that's where we started out. And then Mike Rinder, welcome to my new blog. Oh, what a coinky dink in 2013. So for 4 years, Marty Rathman's blog, moving on up a little bit higher, you know, has provided an invaluable service. It's been the best source of news on the current goings on in the world of Scientology, exposed truth about what's happened in the past, provided a venue for those newly emerging from the bubble of the church to announce themselves to the world, given insight to the swirling of the tech, offered helpful advice, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Marty always wanted to help spiritual awareness, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So the other guy I mentioned here is, of course, Tony Ortega, because these three at one time were completely the three amigos. So let's go here. Tony Ortega, this is his wiki page. Anthony Tony Ortega is an American journalist and editor best known for his coverage of the Church of Scientology and his blog, The Underground Bunker. He was executive editor of Raw Story from 2013 to 2015. Previously, he'd been a journalist at the New Times LA, editor-in-chief of the Broward Palm Beach New Times from 2005 to 2007, editor-in-chief of the Village Voice from 2007 to 2012. Okay, if you go to try and click on any of Tony Ortega's articles from the Village Voice, they are gone. They are gone. Okay, so in comes Tony Ortega. This is his website is the worst, guys. It is just, I can't even click off this ad. I can't even get rid of the ad. It's just like 1993 called Tony, and it wants its website back. This thing is awful. He's a journalist. Now, he started writing about Scientology in 1995. That's also when Lisa McPherson happened. And in May 2015, released a book, Scientology's Harassment of Paul Mallet Cooper. I went and saw him on his book tour when he came to LA and met with who? That's right, Leah Remini. Because she left in 2013. And this is like when all these things come together around this same time. Okay. You can send him an email, you know, message TonyO94@gmail.com. That's his email. You can do it. So this is his article about where he broke the news that Leah was leaving. Leah hadn't actually, she chose to announce it with Tony Ortega. Why? Well, in 2013, something else was going on, right? So this is Marty's wiki page because he's been in a few films. He has his own wiki. He left in 2004. And in 2016, had a change of heart. What happened to Marty in 2016? Woman drops lawsuit against Scientology. A Texas woman embroiled in a years-long battle with the Church of Scientology and its leader, David Miscavige, filed a motion Tuesday to voluntarily dismiss her harassment lawsuit against the church and some of its top officials. The legal move came as the Texas Supreme Court was poised to review arguments in the case, and months after Monique Rathman, the wife of former high-ranking Scientologist, fired her attorneys without explanation. Rathman claimed that in a 2013 lawsuit that the church mounted a 3-year campaign of dirty tricks, including surveillance, harassment, and ruthlessly aggressive misconduct that drove her from South Texas home and into seclusion in the Hill Country, where she was found again by Scientology operatives. Okay, so in 2013, let's get all these timelines straight. 2006, Tom Cruise, Katie get married. Leah asks the wrong question. File is opened. 2007, John Sweeney comes this close to figuring everything out about Scientology and publishing it. Scientology flips the script as usual, paints him as a loony bird, Okay. Gets him basically fired and, like ruins his career as a journalist. Okay. Mike Rinder conveniently escapes 3 years after Marty Rathbun. Okay. And the two of them team up, start their blogs, all doing this very long frog in the pot thing of blaming David Miscavige for ruining Scientology. Even goes back to the article where Mike says that he's had doubts for 20 years since Miscavige took over. The story between Mike and Marty has never changed. But what happened then, okay, they were both the big blogs. But Tony Ortega was like, hey, guys, what about me? Right? And he was whipping up minions of ex-Scientologists and anonymous people on the internet on the daily with his Tales of Ron, Tales of Miscavige, Tales of other things. Mike does some articles there. Marty does some articles there. They're interviewed all the time. The three of them are working in concert, okay, to fuck with David Miscavige, apparently. Then 2012, hot dog. Something nobody saw happened. Katie Holmes flips the bird to Scientology, okay, and does the best reverse op of all time, okay, rescues her daughter, gets the fuck out of there. A year later, Leah has finally had enough and comes out publicly against Scientology. This is the golden nugget opportunity that Scientology has, that David Miscavige has, to now craft the narrative and fully take the reins, okay, of what comes next. What stories will be told? What will be out there? What will be allowed to be out there? Okay? And from 2013 on, we have Tony, Mike, and Mark working in concert, if you look at all of their articles together, to craft that narrative. 2016 comes along. Marty has now left the building. Okay? Now, in terms of intimate knowledge of David Miscavige, Scientology, the inner workings, dirty deeds, Marty had his hand in all of that. He was singularly the most potentially destructive person that had ever left Scientology. Okay? And everybody knew that. So after 3 years of harassment, Marty supposedly, leaves the ex-Scientology movement and is now become a turncoat. Right? Is now doing propaganda films for David Miscavige for an undisclosed amount of money. And, he fucks off into the ether. But who does that leave? Conveniently, that leaves the guy who's now established trust with Leah for 3 years, who's now been waiting for an opportunity to elevate himself and his narrative into the now times. So now he's the guy because Marty fucked off, right? And let's face it, in terms of likability, believability, and a little less cuckoo in terms of like what he said on the internet about spirituality and ops and Sun Tzu and like space shit, Mike drew the long straw on that one, right? Because he hadn't said anything really too controversial, right? Marty had a little, a lot of kind of ups and downs. He wasn't looking real stable. And don't go to his blog now. It's out there. It's out there. Okay. So Mike then becomes the official sidekick of Leah, right? He's Papa Smurfing it up. He's doing all of the things. Okay. And what else? Where did it go? I have so many tabs, guys. I apologize. So Leah writes her book, 2016. Now, but also in 2012, I gotta go back. So right before Leah leaves, okay, what other things were happening? Debbie Cook. They got indicted in Belgium. The Vanity Fair article. Okay, Scientology, Tom Cruise, and Katie Holmes. What Katie didn't know, because Katie left in 2012. Like, this was a major shitstorm. And, oh my goodness, Davey's dad wrote a book, and, oh fuck, The Master came out. 2012, it was the apocalypse for Scientology. Okay. Like, everybody thought the Mayan calendar was talking about the whole world. It was Scientology apocalypse in 2012. Okay. Like, it couldn't have been worse. Couldn't have been worse for them. Okay. Because look at all these things. Debbie Cook wins her lawsuit. She fucks off into the ether for an undisclosed amount of money because they put her in a trash can once and poured water on her head with a sign that said, "I'm a lesbian." Like, I'm sorry, Debbie. Cry me a fucking river. Okay. Cry me a river on that one. And all this other stuff. Now, this Vanity Fair article as well, if you do yourself a favor, this Vanity Fair article, Google it, read it. Scientology, Tom Cruise, and Katie Holmes, what Katie didn't know. It is fan-fucking-tastic. Okay. So 2012 sees this. Then Leah comes out. Now Mike is her bestie. Okay. Mike is besties. They do, of course, this show, Leah Remini, Scientology in the Aftermath, okay, which is a great show. Started in November of 2016, okay? And then this year is the same year, earlier that year. Oh, my God. I can't. Oh, that's the Tampa Bay Times one. I'm sorry. Wrong. This. So in May of 2016, Marty Rathbun is off the scene. By November, we have Leah's book and we have her show, which Mike was a part of every single episode, sitting there, making sure that the narrative stays where it's supposed to be. Okay? The narrative must be correct. Now, if we go back to oh no. That is not for you guys. Stop bringing, okay, I have to close that. Guys, I'm that's my attempt at writing my life down. Okay. So when intelligence becomes a PR matter, when intelligence fails, it becomes a PR matter. When PR fails, it becomes a legal matter. When legal loses or declines, it becomes an LRH matter. You can substitute LRH in this policy for David Miscavige, okay? So when intelligence fails, it becomes a PR matter. So Leah in 2006, asking that question, started the intelligence ball rolling on her, right? And it hasn't stopped. Many articles about her. Even now, she is feeling the immense torture of being followed. All of the things that we experience as former Scientologists, but she experiences it on a global scale because she is a celebrity. So they write horrific articles. They try to get the tabloids to write bad articles about her. They get bad pictures of, it's a whole thing. Being a celebrity is a whole other level. Right? But it's bad. Okay? It's bad. And when PR fails, it becomes a legal matter. Now, as we know, Leah has her lawsuit. There have been instances in the past 10 years where a certain individual, part of these three amigos, Tony Ortega, has disclosed legal things prior to them being fully finished, without the consent of the people involved. The Jane Doe's case in point. The first case that they had against Danny Masterson was tanked, partially, in my personal opinion, due to Tony Ortega and Chris Shelton's article with the jury foreman and other, things that they put out, even when the Jane Doe's begged them not to, while they were refiling Tony said the story was more important than their feelings. Okay. Now, I've dealt with plenty of reporters, and a lot of people have very negative, opinions of reporters, especially ex-Scientologists, because we were told our whole lives that reporters and the media are bad. And, in today's world, the media it's kind of like skewed, right? It's kind of weird. But never have I seen a singular person be so diabolically hyper-focused on making himself the story than Tony Ortega. And then to be the yang to that, we have Mike Rinder's blog, which is the Papa Smurf to the Gargamel, right? So now where are we? Where are we? Well, now Mike and Leah kind of like aren't doing stuff together because Leah's in the middle of a very, very important legal battle where she needs to keep her shit together, and she needs to, not be involved in shenanigans and other things that are happening in regards to Scientology, in regards to ex-Scientology world and stuff like that. Because people ask all the time, well, why doesn't Leah say this? And why doesn't Leah say that? And why doesn't, okay, guys, she's trying to win a legal case. Okay. Regardless of what you think of her personal things and other stuff, she's in the middle of one of the singularly most important legal cases besides the one that Marty Rathbun was in the middle of since that case, essentially. Okay. And that's not to downplay the importance of the Jane Does and their disgusting treatment by Scientology after being sexually assaulted and raped by Danny Masterson. That case showed the diabolicalness of Scientology, showed how Scientology operates, the lengths that they will go to silence victims and accusers amongst their ranks. Okay. Now, notice that Mike and Leah were very closely, and Leah went to go support these women because they had come on the show originally anonymously, and she was there to show support. Mike did some testimony that was very carefully crafted to talk about specific things involving David Miscavige and other people who would have had knowledge of things, completely eliminating himself from the equation, even though he was definitely the head of OSA during those incidents. But remember, he was wavering for 20 years, even as, Danny Masterson was being a complete predator in and amongst Scientology and getting away with it time and time again. Why? Because OSA covered it up. Convenient that didn't come out during those trials. So, and that's not to say that it would have made a difference really because, Danny is the perpetrator. Scientology should have also been, in my personal opinion, I'm not a lawyer, should have also been on trial during those things because they allowed Danny to do those things and kept him in a position where he had access to more vulnerable women. So now, Leah is over here. Mike has cancer. Sad panda. But he's still blogging. He's still cranking out material. He still has time to attack Miriam and other people because, nothing's going to keep him down. But remember, guys, he's wavering. He's been wavering. So what would be the end game? What would be the absolute end game in this scenario? Because they couldn't control Katie Holmes. They couldn't get Mike out fast enough to get in with her. They already had Jessica Fesh back as her friend. She fucked that up. She was married to Tommy Davis. And where's Tommy and Jess? Oh, right. He divorced her and left her with twin babies and is now married to some 20-year-old or something in Vegas while he works for a Scientology investment firm making millions of dollars. Yeah, Tommy's got a hard life. Tommy's got a super hard life. But they don't want him to talk because he knows all the juicy deets about, fucking Tom Cruise as well. So now we have Tom Cruise everywhere. Scientology is so desperate because the protests are kicking their ass. Okay. And other people like Sins of Scientology and other people are bringing up all of their past and airing it out. German news, putting out all their old footage, everything else, right? Okay. And now we have another case by the Jane Does, a civil case, and we have Leah's case. So where is the danger for Scientology? The danger is Leah Remini, right? If she wins this case, because now she's got a new, very good lawyer, this is very, very bad. Also, it would expose more inner workings of the Office of Special Affairs, how their tactics work and things like that. I mean, we have all the documents here. I show them and things like that. But who's more scared about Leah winning her case right now? David Miscavige, who managed to evade every service that was given to him. I find that miraculous. I find that miraculous that nobody was telling him when the servers were coming. Didn't have an inside man letting him know what was what. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Additionally, if Mike does know the inner workings and is been doing this now since 2006, developing a file on Leah, developing a way to con her into believing everything that he says and trusting her within an inch of her life, I'd say he's doing a really good job. I'd say he's doing a really good job because everything in her life that's falling apart, right, only really started falling apart, if you think about it, the more she put Mike in it. Okay? She left in 2013. She was, biding her time, figuring it out, taking a rest, releasing some of these things. She writes her book. And, Mike Rinder wasn't even paid for the first season. He was just a prop, basically, right? He was just a prop to add credibility, right? Because he's the former head of the Office of Special Affairs, former high-ranking Scientologist, and he can, vouch for things, give it credibility. The second year, though, he wanted to get paid. He got paid. He got paid a lot. None of the participants got paid, but he got paid a lot. And that's when he started getting real power hungry, right? For control of the stories, control of who was researching what and what they were researching and why they were researching it, right? Where the story was going. So what do we see now happening in 2024? Okay, let's get to 2024 because here we are. Leah's suit is ongoing. The Jane Doe's suit is ongoing. Mike is behind the scenes, behind his cancer wall, silently attacking people, utilizing other figureheads. Okay, we still have Tony Ortega on the scene. His blog is a mess, so he joined a Substack, try to get people to pay for that. It's still free. But every once in a while, if you pay, you get an exclusive podcast. Right? So there's really no way that Tony Ortega is making money off of any of that. His YouTube gets no views. His Substack has no subscriptions. It's impossible that he's eking out a living based on that ridiculous website of his that is just so filled with ads. It is like literally the worst, right? So maybe he's getting ad revenue from the 10 million clickbait ads, on this thing, right? It's just ads. And this was an article he did back in 2012 about Marty, right? Okay. It was written by Tony. Paul Merrick. These are the two people that were following Pat Broker for years, right? So he does this great article And, you know, Marty's helping him with it and blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, as soon as Marty revealed a big truth about who had been following Pat Broker, the actual heir to Scientology around, all of a sudden Marty's gone. Poof. Poof, Marty's gone. Okay. But that leaves Tony and Mike to carry on the dirty deeds. You know, I was raised a Scientologist from the age of 6. After high school, this is Mike's own bio on his website. Blah, 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 blah. October 1973, I was aboard Hubbard's ship Apollo, hence the name of the sea organization, and met him for the first time. Hubbard to Scientologist is the closest thing to God. His word is taken as literal truth, not to be interpreted, only to be understood and followed exactly. I remained in the Sea Org until 2007 when I finally decided there was no way I could change the culture of violence and abuse that had become endemic under the leadership of David Miscavige. Right? He had to leave his wife and his kids. Many of them were very senior. I sat on the board of directors of the Church of Scientology International until the day I made my escape. Here's his Office of Special Affairs. Okay. His special training. I studied a large part of the voluminous output of Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard, especially the so-called administrative technology. I also studied everything he had to say about how to destroy enemies, win litigation, deal with the media, and run a spy network. So Mike is the most trained Scientology spy on the planet. Few people have had the wide exposure to so much of Hubbard's writings, as there's a good deal of it which is deemed confidential. Okay. So, because Mike has cancer, and, you know, again, that, you know, I don't wish cancer on anybody. I was trying to find the very first post. I finally found it. If you go here, he's still writing. This is from today. He's published an article. Freedom Medal winners become fundraisers. Da, 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 da. And, you know, oh, Michael Roberts, sad panda. You know, this is just another, and he's going to deflect to Tom Cruise, right? So he's still cranking out content. But when he wants to do the dirty work, he goes here. Oh, it's me. Thanks for getting a close-up. I wanted to see if, I'm going to refresh it. I wanted to see if no, she hasn't written anything else. She's too busy being over here on Reddit with B Kiddo, a.k.a. Sonny Pereira, who doesn't know how to tell time. Right? And the unvarnished guys, whoo, they're really stuck on Louis Repetto. Guys, Louis Repetto, absolute predator, absolutely did bad things. He's left. If there are victims out there, here's what I'm going to say. If you have a case against Louis Repetto, please file that with the appropriate authorities. We are not, and by we, I'm using the royal we of SPTV. We are not a government organization, any type of organization, actually. We do not make laws. We are not a rescue group. We are not an investigative group. We do not go and arrest people. We have no authority to do that. Okay? So if you have beef or cause to take legal action against Mr. Louis Repetto, please do so. No one here on SPTV ever said anything otherwise, including Aaron. So this fucking shit, I'm sorry, this is just so bonker doodles. God, talk about scraping the bottom of the barrel. I would love to know who Health to the Yeah is. If anybody knows, please tell me. Okay, so this is the new one. I confess it was me all along. This is them making fun of me. Oh, they're making fun of Aaron. Wow, they don't know how to do it. And then Sonny, of course, trying to get me. What is this one about? They wrote it an hour ago. They just, again, audio bleeding. Uh-huh. Are they saying they're Aaron? Oh, my minions attack Stephanie. I know that she has a good heart and meant well, but the monster I've created is no longer under my control. That's not Aaron. They're so crazy. They are so crazy. But at any rate, they go to this lady, Stephanie Hutchison, who does nothing but write articles about me, about Aaron. She doesn't attack Scientology, right? Aaron's a real person. He's live probably right now. Okay. She does things like this. Put up a GoFundMe for Liz Ferris that she copy and pasted from another GoFundMe. Like, Mike has not even taught her the ways of the Scientology Jedi. Right? But what is the ultimate goal? What is the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is to make sure that Scientology continues. That Scientology wins. So now in 2024, Scientology has brought itself back to the beginning. Okay? Back to 1950. We're going to start all over. We're going to promote Dianetics. We're going to put Dianetics people on the streets. We're going to get people start co-auditing. We're going to bring people in for all the freebies. We're going to start at the beginning because that's how L. Ron started the con. So why is Mike Rinder so key to all of this? Right? Because he knows a lot of stuff. He did most of the bad stuff at the behest, of course, of David Miscavige, who's, you know, unarguably one of the worst humans that's ever walked the face of the earth. Okay. You know, he has single-handedly taken an evil, money-grubbing, money-laundering, tax-evading cult and turned it into something even worse, if that was possible, on his own accord. I don't know that L. Ron would have been that successful had he lived, but David Miscavige has been successful because he's young and cunning and, you know, kind of good-looking. So he can keep doing that. So if Leah wins her suit, which I am fingers crossed, toes crossed, eyes crossed, everything crossed, that she wins this suit, okay? This will deliver such a damning blow to Scientology that they're not going to recover. They're not going to recover, right? And yesterday, I did a couple things about Stephanie, Mike's favorite pet, that showed her sanity level is very low. It's very low. I'm sorry. I just got the world's greatest text from a relative that I fucking love so much. Oh my God, that's the greatest text ever. I love you. I love you. I know you're watching right now. I love you. So Mike Rinder, you know, while going through chemo and all that other stuff, is setting up Leah to fail. He's setting her up to fail in conjunction with Tony, who, you know, is very intrepid about just getting as much detail as he possibly can get out there that shouldn't be out there when someone is doing a legal case. Right? And Daniel. He's not good looking. Okay. He was cute in his younger age. Come on, let's be honest. When he took over Scientology, he was a little bit cute. Still super short, but I agree. Okay, guys, that's the most controversial thing I've ever said, apparently, that David Miscavige is kind of good looking. Jeez Louise, that would have got me on the RPF for the second time if I had said it there. All right. Right? So Stephanie started out just as like a regular stalker, right? Like just writing fan mail, getting interested, commenting daily on Mike's blog. And then he realized this is a useful psychopath. She can help me. Right? And with his encouragement and his love, his Papa Smurfdom has molded her into the complete raving lunatic that she is today. I don't think she spends 1 minute off the internet, right? Okay? Just combing for details, much like the potato head fake foundation thing. I really hope they do a thing of me pretending to be the breakdancer yesterday. That was so hilarious. Anyway, you know, and now all of her cuckoo baby Rinder shit has blown up. Okay? And for those of you who didn't tune in yesterday was a big day. A big day. I did a whole thing about her. Then during my live breaking down all of her cuckoo cuckoo-ness, she opened up a GoFundMe for Liz Ferris without contact. Well, she did in all fairness. She wrote an email to Liz. It was like, hey, I want to start a GoFundMe for you because I love you and you need help. You're a single mom who lost her fiance and I want to help you. And Liz was out and about living her life and didn't see the email, but Stephanie was like, I'm going to do it. And so she put up a ridiculous, I'll show it again one more time because it's just too good not to. She steals a picture of Liz from a live, doesn't even ask, just a terrible screenshot from her very low end phone, awful pixelation there. And then says, I'm asking for support for a young woman named Liz. Liz is 40, but thank you, Stephanie. She has endured the loss of her fiance. No. And the father of her children. Oh, where did she get that info from? From this. With the loss of her fiance and the father of her children. Liz Ferris and family. This is a lady 5 years ago who lost her fiance, Tyler, who they had 2 kids together. Like what? She just copy pasted that. Literally, Claire Headley called Liz Ferris to find out if Carrie had died. Okay? This caused a lot of undue stress for Liz, who has just gotten out of the hospital after a double pulmonary embolism and is fingers crossing her way that her cancer that she had years ago is not back. Okay? This is not the time to fake a fiance death for this person who also, by the way, was told by Scientology 20 years ago that her father was dead. Oh, who was in the Sea Org then at the Gold Base a lot? Oh, right. Mike Rinder. Mike Rinder. Who, again, fingers in all the pies. Fingers in all the pies. So if Leah's suit, which, again, I'm rooting for 100%, goes through, not only is this bad news bears for Scientology, this is bad news bears for Mike. Because I have a feeling, yeah. Guys, I cannot express to you the disdain and disgust with which I feel for this person, Voodoo Kitty, a.k.a. Sarasaurus on Reddit, a.k.a. Sarah, S-E-R-A, Sarah. She is a vile, disgusting human being who, like Stephanie, spends all day on the internet, commenting, downvoting, probably one of the 4 downvotes I've got here on this stream. Yeah, Sonny, exactly. Try Wikipedia and the internet to research states next time. I mean, Sonny, this is just the laziest thing you've ever written. It's the laziest thing that you've ever written. Oh, now there's 11 comments. Mike Rinder, was in the hole starting in 2005. Leah questions Shelley whereabouts in 2006 and Tom and Katie's wedding. Mike escaped Scientology in March of 2007. Thank you, Reddit, for backing me up. Thank you for backing me up. I mean, when Reddit has your back, yeah, this is good. Are we shocked? Sarah, Sonny's the one that got it wrong. This is like, guys, this is like gaslighting beyond gaslighting. Like literally, they cannot stop the gaslighting. The wedding was November 2006. Mike left in 2007. Like, hello? I remember Mike working with Tommy Davis a bit sometime after the wedding. This is a person who was there before he disappeared, and he was just being a lackey for COB. Yeah, he was working with Tommy on the whole fucking John Sweeney thing. Like, come on. First of all, don't ever spare analysis put me in the same sentence as fucking Kellyanne Conway. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you? That's the worst insult I've ever had. That's the worst insult I've ever had. Calling me Kellyanne Conway? How dare you? How dare you? First of all, Kellyanne Conway was a Democrat who flipped to be a Trump supporter and talked her way through that and has a husband who has been flaming her on Twitter ever since. Okay? I'm definitely no Kellyanne Conway, honey. But nice try. So, there's two more here. Two more replies I didn't see. Sonny had to correct it. I stand corrected. Post edited. Oh, good. Rinder was out of Scientology in 2007. Crew's wedding was in. Edit. See comments below. I had my dates wrong in this original post, but still the math doesn't add up for Rinder to have been running an OSA op on Leah. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Nice try, Sonny. A nice try, Sonny, but you was wrong, girl. We proved it here on my live. And that's a Ginsburg. I'm sorry. I just went full Kate McKinnon there. Okay. So, Kellyanne Ames. Oh! Take that back, Tommy C's cat. Take that back. You take that back. Oh, no. Pokey's face planted again? Let's fix Pokey. There we go. Pokey is fixed. Thank you. Thank you, Alley-oop, for helping me fix Pokey. Thank you. All right. So, guys. Guys. Oh, Julie, thank you for being here for 4 months. I love it. I'm going to get to all of your guys' questions and everything here in a second. If this... And I'm trying to break it down in a way that you can understand because it's very confusing. I feel like, the guy with the red strings and stuff. It totally tracks that Mike, upon his leaving, was sitting here in Sleeper Cell Universe waiting to be activated. And I'm going to do a whole MK Ultra episode. Okay. By Miscavige to handle the noise outside. Or he was sent out from the very beginning because he was so ineffectual inside with the John Sweeney and, other things that he'd been put in the hole for, that Tom Cruise couldn't stand to see him anymore. His buddy who gave him gifts. And he had to now go make up for that. Go and prove with an effective blow that, he's worthy. He's worthy of Hubbard, his hero. He's worthy of, nobody sent me a Deadpool Funko. Get on it. And all this other stuff. So this long con of inserting himself into Leah's life, getting to be the sidekick, getting to craft the narrative, getting himself on the board of, at the time, the only foundation set up to help ex-Scientologists leaving to make sure he can vote on who gets help and who doesn't. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Gets to Caesar the people who are leaving because he personally gets to find out what juicy hot goss they have Why else? Thank you, downvotes. Why else would he be so obsessed with being in that position of power? Why else would he be so obsessed with knowing who wants money, what they want it for, and how long have they been out of Scientology? And only if you're just leaving, you get help from the Aftermath Foundation, right? Okay, so I think it's easy to figure out that this man, Papa Smurf, has never left his post. He's still crafting that narrative. He's still making sure we focus on the things that aren't going to end Scientology, like the protests, which he is vehemently against and doesn't cover and doesn't congratulate outside of interviewing Jessica Palmadessa, who's young and pretty. Right? Tony Ortega doesn't cover the protests. Chris Shelton has said they're not effectual. They don't do anything. Right? You guys. It's plain as day. It is plain as day what is going on in here. Even minor minions of Tony and Mike can't get their fucking shit straight, Sonny. Nice try, though. Nice try. Try again later. Or maybe don't. Let's get let's get to the super chats and things. Tommy sees cat. Pear character flying in the air with a red cape and a smile on his face. Okay. That must have been a sticker that you sent me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Powerlize the Paralyze. $5 says Leah's case falls apart. I really hope not. But it would be convenient. Meredith Keith, thank you for this super chat, for your honesty, truth, and just because I love you and your whole personality. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sue D. Okay, now I just starred this because this is amazing. As an Aussie, ray gun performance, easily an embarrassment. If you want to see great Aussie competing in the Olympics and it's hilarious, watch Stephen Bradbury speed skating from 20 years ago. Yeah, I mean, guys, if you please just Google ray gun Olympics. Please do yourself, if you want the best laugh of today. It's fantastic. Rachel Dratch came out and did an impersonation on Jimmy Fallon. Fantastic. Fantastic. Let me search in all the things for the questions here. Question. Just watch Jenner. Answer my question. Whoop, whoop. Okay. Whoop, whoop. That's a great Aussie movie. Welcome to Whoop, whoop, if you've never seen it. Yes. Okay, we're talking about Jenna's video. I love Jenna. I'll go watch her video after this. Am I planning to protest in the near future? I am. Yes. Rules don't apply to Tom Cruise because he's a public? No, because he's Tom Cruise. No rules apply to Tom Cruise because he's Tom Cruise. I thought he went to Jenna's mom and stepdad's place to start. I don't know. If it's in his book, guys, I'm not going to dispute anything he says in his book, right? But again, he knew who all these people were that he could turn to. Why? The safe people. Because he knew from his files on them what they were up to, who he could insert himself with. He's the master spy. Cubana Chica. Oh no, that was the one you just did. Mother Baggins. Is this the real reason he never got therapy if he's never really out? That's a good question. He's never put himself into the hands of psychs, guys. Jill Anderson, is involuntary functions like breathing, awake, or sleeping part of the reactive mind? No. That's basically, according to Scientology, this brain only has that function to just like do the autonomous body stuff. It doesn't do anything else. It just keeps your body alive. It's just the like battery for your body. Toby F, do you believe Mike is back and that whole gang are back in? I don't think he ever left. Lanakin, So Mike getting a job from Aaron, make Aaron a bigger target, forced him closer to being declared. Yeah. Yeah, it put a lot of pressure on Aaron. Little did they know. See, this is the unfortunate thing. When they try to put pressure on people like me or like Aaron or Serge, like they made us. They made us. And they don't know how to control us now that we know the secrets of them and the real world. Right? Yeah. Stacey Toms, isn't Leah's case on hold at the moment? Last video I saw Aaron do about it seemed like her case might die in the water. That was before she got her new lawyer. So as far as I know, it's still back on. Are public celebrities like Leah Remini aware of the PR policy you've just read? Did she know this is what was happening to her from 2006 to 2013? Or did they just... That's just for the higher ups. That's super confidential. That's an OSA only policy. Answer: no. She didn't know there was an op being run on her for those years. She just was getting tortured by Scientology. And that's like normal. You know, you blame yourself, right? That's what Scientology teaches you. Everything is your fault. You did it wrong. You're not standard tech, all that other kind of stuff, right? So she didn't know it was an op to try and like convert her back to the good side, right? But it was. It didn't work. Kelly Copter in the house. What about Mike Rinder Scientology family and the hate sites and that stuff? Is that not real? Sorry if you covered this. I'm just arriving. No, they are absolutely real, right? But that's part of the op, right? I mean, do I think Taryn has actual beef with her dad and he was a shitty dad to her in the Sea Org? Yes. And this just gives her a legit reason to get all that out. Do they know? Do Taryn and his ex-wife know that they are part of an op to keep Mike under deep cover? Of course not. Because you never tell each person in a long con what their role is so that they don't fuck it up. Mike has never sued his ex-wife, his daughter, Scientology for any of the salacious, slanderous claims that they've made against him. Why hasn't he ever filed a civil suit against them? He has justice on his side, right? He's been harassed. He's been stalked. He's been followed. His new kid, intimidated. His wife intimidated, his current wife. Why hasn't Mike Rinder filed a civil suit? Marty Rathbun did. But why hasn't Mike? That's the real question to ask. Let's go to the comments now. Oh, yeah. Mena, not Mina. These are two different people. Okay. And thank you for being a member. What really disturbed me was that Steph had the gall to comment on Liz's community post, whining that Liz hadn't contacted her before making yesterday's video. Darvo much? Guys, it went further than that. Where's my pajotos? Where have they gone? Oh, they're there. Is it in my photos? It's on my other phone. I have too many phones, guys, and too many photos, and they don't all link up together. It's here. Okay, let me get this over to myself. Please hold. Photo incoming. Okay. So let me pull this up. Boom. Okay. So this is Liz's page. This was her waiting screen yesterday. Okay. Before she did her video, Liz did a video as well. The GoFundMe isn't real. Stephanie spamming the chat prior to that. This is Stephanie here. I don't know, Liz, but I was truly trying to help. I can certainly change the details, the total false details of the fucking GoFundMe, right? Summer, one of her mods, says, you should speak to someone in person before you start a fundraiser for them. Abso-fucking-lutely, right? Stephanie says, I sent her an email about it. But okay, I'll just cancel it. Sorry, I tried to help. And then Summer's like, let Liz speak to you first. I'm not her. I'm just a mod. I certainly do not speak for her. Stephanie, if she's going to ignore my email in my attempt to be kind and help and make a video like this instead, I may have made a mistake. I'm out. I'm out. Right? Like, no responsibility. Where have we seen things like this before? Where have we seen a non-apology apology before? I wonder where we've seen that. Could it be from this guy when he wrote a blog about Miriam and then like did a non-apology apology? Let's see if we can find it. Here's the difference between Mike in 2017 and Mike in 2024. Okay. Scientology, The Aftermath, Season 2, Episode 1, The Aftermath. Thanks to everyone for supporting the show last night. There were too many tweets, messages, Facebook posts, blog comments here and at the underground bunker. Oh. What? Are you guys a team? Yeah, they are. To possibly keep up, respond, or to all the expressions of support and outrage. So let's this be a general thanks to everyone. But thanks, beyond all thanks, to two incredible brave women, Miriam Francis and Sina Kamula, who stood up, spoke up, and gave voice to every victim of similar abuse in Scientology. There's so much more to their stories, as you might imagine. Only so much can fit in the minutes available for the show. I wish we could tell the entire story of every person, as the amazing details and information they have is so compelling and so heartbreaking. A&E provides the opportunity to tell these stories, but there are limitations in what can be included and what has to be left out. We have to try to capture the important essence of their stories in 48 minutes. From the reaction I've seen so far, it was powerful. I don't think anyone who watched the episodes feels anything other than empathy for the way they were treated and anger that Scientology got away with it. Scientology has already trotted out a website of POW-style videos from former friends saying, I never heard them complain, so they must be lying. Pretty lame when you know that they did complain to the correct people. They were sent to ethics. Why would they tell their friends? Scientology has no limit on its willingness to attack the attacker, even children who were sexually molested. Really makes them look like monsters. I would love to hear your views as always, and for anyone newly coming to this blog, I include some relevant links to earlier blog articles. To begin to understand the mindset of Scientologists have about those who criticize any part of it, read this article. And then read this one. And then this one. And then this one. So this is him explaining the stuff. This is a really good one where he kind of tells on himself a lot. But in 2024, his tune had changed. Never a bad day for a good smear. Oh, there's a little rabbit coming out of a hat. I want to address an important matter circulating in the former Scientologist community for the last few weeks concerning criminal investigation into child sexual abuse allegations against the father of Miriam Francis. I'll lay out the timeline and associated evidence in this blog post. First, I want to be clear. I don't want anyone attacking Miriam or anyone else on my behalf. What Miriam has been through in her life, mainly due to Scientology, is something no person should ever have to face. For those seeking the actual facts, this blog contains all the information and associated documentation. Continuing to disseminate lies after reading this post will reveal a lack of interest in the truth, confirming an agenda unrelated to advocating for victims or exposing the crimes of Scientology. Translation: if you don't believe every word I say and go along with my version of events, then you're a bad, bad person. You're a bad, bad person. Because only I, Mike Rinder, know the one absolute truth. And I'm going to tell you. And if you veer from that, you're bad. And I'm going to get you. As much as I don't want to engage in public dialogue on this matter, the subject at hand is much too serious not to address. One can't publicly accuse another of covering up criminal conduct, which is an accusation of participating in that conduct, which you did, and not open themselves up to a public response. Even if you are the victim of the essay, which you covered up, Mike. Miriam has made allegations about me which are not true. I'm also publishing this because I don't want unsuspecting people to get caught up in this matter without accurate information. Again, I am the source. I am the only one. Look here. Don't look anywhere else. Don't listen to anyone else, not even Miriam. As I've mentioned many times in the past, both in interviews on Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath, and in my book, I've spent the last 15 years pushing to expose Scientology's abuses, not only because it's the right thing to do, because also I feel it is my responsibility after spending many years serving in the leadership of an organization that destroyed people's lives. Which you did, Mike. Which you did. I also feel responsible for bringing 2 children into Scientology, my daughter Taryn and my son Benjamin. Okay? I had much easier and more lucrative options in my post-Scientology life. I've chosen this path because I felt it was my duty. What were those lucrative options, Mike? Where was this money coming from that you magically gave up to tell everybody about Scientology? Because I think that that's just bullshit. Again, more narrative. Since I first went public, recounting my experience in the St. Petersburg Times in 2009, okay, 2 years after he left, there's been a continuous and relentless campaign conducted by Scientology to smear my reputation and that of others who have spoken out publicly about the abuses of Scientology. Early on, statements by Scientology were made to the mainstream media and published in their propaganda publications like Freedom Magazine. Over time, it expanded to videos and then online with paid Google ads and a host of hired internet trolls and OSA volunteers. Okay. The primary attack line at the outset was he is a bitter, defrocked apostate and therefore is a liar, which is the most like nothing sauce of a fucking accusation. Like what person is like, oh my God, guys, watch out for the bitter, defrocked apostates. Whoo! They are just scary AF. Like no one cares. Mike, that is the most nothing burger of a fucking accusation that has ever been accused. J'accused, okay? Oh no, they called you a defrocked apostate. The liar tag has been consistent from the outset and still rolled out when I file a declaration in a legal case or I'm interviewed for the media. Often Scientology's used things when I said I was in the Sea Org, particularly in the whole, to prove that I have admitted to being a serial liar. Every Scientologist was required to lie. Very true. Every Sea Org member who was at the international base, and especially those who were in the whole, were forced to make confessions that almost always included lying to David Miscavige. These coerced, wrong page. Sorry, guys. These coerced confessions are subsequently used against anyone who speaks out. Okay, so, right, Mike, right, because this is straight out of the OSA playbook, right? You get people to confess to bullshit. You get people to say outrageous things. You cull all that. You hold it in a file known as their pre-clear folder, their ethics folder, their personnel file, and then when convenient, you pop it out to prove what they're saying is wrong, right? So they were doing that to you, but also it's convenient that you are now the underdog, right? Convenient to keep you on the side of ex-Scientologists, okay? You're just a poor, bitter, defrocked apostate. The next wave of accusations, for crying, I keep doing the wrong button, stemmed from the incident where Scientology sent 7 people, including my ex-wife, brother, and daughter, and 4 senior Scientology officials, along with private investigators, to confront me and my wife, Christy, in the parking lot of a doctor's office. That was pretty gross. It gave rise to a new false attack line that I was a wife beater following Scientology police and practice. My ex-wife and daughter, both of whom are Sea Org members, believe wholeheartedly that lying to discredit someone Scientology deems an enemy is entirely justified. My ex-wife, Kathy, falsely accused me of assaulting her during a confrontation that was no doubt orchestrated by David Miscavige. Correct. So then they went with that whole line. All of the ex-wives went on to fucking talk to Anderson Cooper. It was a whole thing. The assault did not happen, and law enforcement documentation proves that it did not occur. Like, first of all, we were talking about Miriam. Who fucking cares that they're running a campaign against you? Oh, right. This is important, guys, because he's the best friend, right? He is the best friend of everyone who's left Scientology, right? He's the guy. He's the guy who is supposed to, what is happening here? Uh-oh. Oh, somebody's screenshotting what's... Thank you, Natalie. What is this screenshot? What? Oh, somebody was posting about apostate Alex. I'll have to find out about that later. Okay. Sorry. Not the breaking. We'll go over that later. Truth is not an operating principle in Scientology, never has been, never will be. As this campaign unfolded, they ordered my daughter, born in SEERG member, to become primary, very public, which we talked about earlier. I'm a distraught daughter advocating more. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Scientology then started promoting another lie that Leah Remini and I were promoting violence against Scientology. That is also a thing they tried to do. They went so far as to falsely claim we were responsible for the murder of a Scientologist in Australia. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Detailed evidence from law enforcement, when finally released, proved that we had nothing to do with that. Scientology knew the facts all along, still repeated the lie, and even today, after we exposed this, they continue to spread this grotesque falsehood. Again, he's never filed a suit about these things. Thankfully, many of you do not believe these smears because you spent time to learn how Scientology, David Miscavige, and the Office of Special Affairs conduct these operations. Mike, you were the head of Office of Special Affairs and wrote the playbook. So now we're going to get to the gist of it. Since a rabbit out of David Miscavige's hat, we're going to call Rabbit the same as David Miscavige. Since I escaped from Scientology, I've rarely had to deal with efforts to undermine my credibility by people who are also fighting against Scientology, especially people who have suffered due to its abuses. Unfortunately, that changed in the last few months. The truth tellers have used and manipulated good people, supporters of our fight who want to help end the criminal behavior of Scientology. Over the past 7 years, Leah and I have found ourselves again, got to make sure that he and Leah are in the same sentence, have found ourselves increasingly dealing with disputes between personalities within the group of former Scientologists. Interesting. They're dealing with disputes between us exes. No, they're not. No, they're not. Rather than focusing on the mission of ending the abuses and holding its leadership accountable. Based on my experience, it seems that some, perhaps based on their Scientology indoctrination, believe they need an enemy to fight. Who that enemy is doesn't matter, even people on the same side. Actually, Mike, the enemy does absolutely matter. And people who were in Scientology for the bulk of their life, who held the very high position of torturer in chief, of manipulator in chief, of spy in chief, like you and Marty Rathbun. People forgot about Marty, but I brought him up today. Hi, Marty. I hope you feel seen. Deserve to be behind bars for the acts and human rights violations and crimes that you committed in the name of Scientology, in the name of David Miscavige, in the name of L. Ron Hubbard. The enemy absolutely matters. Is the enemy also Scientology because it's continuing and it's continuing to hurt children and future generations, and they're lying and getting tax exempt status to do that? Yes. But you, Mike, are also in that same category. Not because we need a face to fight and we need someone to point at and be like, that's a bad, bad man. Because you are a bad, bad man. And you did bad things. And this is just one of them. Motivating people in this environment, is pretty easy to do. Especially if they're led to believe that attacking me and the Aftermath Foundation is the same as attacking Scientology. Here he's breaking down, okay, the supposed OSA ops that he is going to pretend are happening to him. But we're seeing through the curtain, Mike, and we see the real you and what the Aftermath Foundation has turned into under your leadership. With the introduction of YouTube into the world of former Scientologists, first of all, we'd already been there. So nice try. But anyway, activism took on a new dimension, not only to tell the truth, but also a space where false narratives can be presented as truth. Just like your blog, Mike. YouTube is equally an excellent resource for news, information, and entertainment. Well, thank you for mansplaining YouTube to us. And a platform ripe to elevate the most sensational and provocative content, even though it may not be rooted in truth. And that the ability to easily monetize videos, it's not easy. One can end up with content filled with half-truths, mistruths, and outright lies. Sensational framing is designed to get clicks and generate revenue. That's the only true sentence in your paragraph there. Yes, that the algorithm loves sensational things. The new wave of attacks began when Aaron Smith-Levin was asked to remove himself from the board of the Aftermath Foundation. That's your version of events. He originally agreed to do so voluntarily, but when the agreed upon date came, he refused to go. That's not actually what happened. I considered Aaron a friend. Christy, Claire, and Mark did as well. Our families were close. Our children played. We vacationed together. Yeah, he gave you your first job. We were concerned when we asked Aaron to step down that our friendships would survive. There are plenty of examples in the non-Scientology world of people making such difficult decisions yet finding a way to move forward, in our case with the ultimate goals in mind, maintaining relationships we claim are important to us and staying focused on helping those leaving Scientology with the assistance of the Aftermath Foundation. Notice how he's carefully crafting this to move any accusations, any wrongdoing, any bad guy type of evidence off of him and on to Aaron. This is all these attacks that have been happening to Aaron from this time forward. I'm sorry, it's Mike. It's 100% Mike Rinder. Because this is the turning point. This is where we have Aaron getting thrown under every bus available. And Mike Rinder, despite all the evidence coming out about him, all of the crimes he knew about, all of the people coming forward being like, what the fuck, homie? Wasn't him. It was Aaron. It was Aaron all along. Aaron's the bad guy. He's unstable. He's a philanderer. He's not to be trusted. I'm to be trusted. I'm Papa Smurf. Right? Look at me with my cute beard. Plus, I have cancer. Like, a guy with cancer wouldn't be evil and secretly destroying everything around him. I'm a victim. Look at what they've been doing to me for all these years. Absolutely horrific. And now, I lost a friend. I lost my friend Aaron. Okay? Because someone isn't on the board doesn't mean their work can't continue. Especially when Aaron had lamented that he cared so much for those reaching to the foundation for help. See, more Aaron is a piece of shit and I'm the good guy. Sadly, Aaron made it clear that if he didn't have a title and a position on a foundation board, on the foundation, on the Aftermath, he would not continue to support it. And without a title, he would not be our friend. On a personal level, this scorched earth strategy hurt us deeply. We were all so sad. And then Mark went on a live with me and said, don't make us take action. Don't make us like did an unaliving threat to Aaron on a live. Go watch the tape. It's still there. I'm not going to speak on behalf of the other members of the Aftermath Foundation board, but I will speak for myself, Papa Smurf. I reacted in an unprofessional way to his first video, announcing that he was no longer affiliated with the foundation, in which he falsely claimed his removal was a sinister and covert campaign to destroy his character and eliminate him from the foundation he helped found. It absolutely was and continues to be so today. You just passed the baton in this article, Mike, to Stephanie, to the Potato Head Foundation, to Voodoo Kitty, to Thomas Mew Anderson, to all of those other people. Pass the baton. I wish I hadn't responded from an emotional place, but I did. I was hurt by the misrepresentation surrounding his justified removal. He'd agreed to voluntarily step down for reasons he knows, which later you guys all dragged him through the mud for. But, that wasn't you. Absolutely not. I should have reacted unemotionally without any comment at all. I'm not perfect, and I have and will in the future make mistakes. I want to apologize for my comment about keyboard warriors. Remember that, guys? Remember when he called everybody keyboard warriors? That bit him in the ass. He lost a lot of subs and everything that day. My intention was misunderstood. Guys, I'm old, and I take responsibility for that. I should have been sensitive to the fact that it could have been seen by those supporting us as being directed at them. It absolutely was, Mike. It was. You were talking to the people who were your fans, who were trying to talk some sense into you. This comment was not directed at anyone who supports those doing the work to hold Scientology accountable. Oh, like Aaron, who's been doing the work since 2009? That guy? The guy who gave you a job? The guy who was supporting you the whole time? The guy who did the fundraiser for your cancer treatment that you gate kept until it no longer worked for you and now you're on regular stuff? That guy? Yeah. This comment, it was directed at those who took the opportunity in the wake of Aaron's video to send me many messages and comments that range from miscavige-like vulgar name-calling to the hate-filled, I hope you die, or you deserve cancer. I don't hope you die, Mike, and you don't. No one deserves cancer. But apparently that was a bridge too far for Mike. But utterly destroying someone's life over the next year, totally okay. Some believe that Aaron was asked to step down without cause. They are free to believe that. And I will likely never change their minds. Board members of foundations resign or are voted out daily without fanfare or drama. And in this case, we're talking about a voluntary, unpaid nonprofit board. Aaron was not removed from a six-figure job and left destitute. Correct, Mike. It's supposedly unpaid. So why do you care so much? This new vector of attack appears to come from those fighting against Scientology's abuses. The people spreading the smears are not OSA agents. Mike said I'm not OSA, guys. Unfortunately, the result of their actions is something OSA has only dreamt about and is gleefully enjoying. Did you dream this up then, Mike? Did you do like a Wayne Gretzky and look into the future and figure it out? Maybe you did. The anti-Scientology abuse community has been split into factions. This is ancient strategery that Hubbard advocated in many OSA directives. Divide and conquer. I know, Mike. You enforce those. And you are the master of those. The new iteration of smears was ushered in by anonymous YouTuber Alex the Rabbit. She's not anonymous. She shows her face. Unlike the Potato Foundation, unlike Thomas Mew Anderson, unlike Alonzo. And, well, ZDT shows his face. I'll give him that. Apparently realizing that anything Scientology related results in clicks for her channel. Her interest has nothing to do with Miriam's actual case. That's bullshit. Which deserves far more than sensationalism. It absolutely does. It's not possible to respond to the numerous people who believe they are owed answers to crafted hypothetical questions and bad faith demands to prove a negative. You're lying when you say you were not involved. I absolutely stand by that. It's impossible. There is no document. Also, I don't believe there is no document. Then, as the first rabbit video is discussed by others in subsequent videos, the buzz grows. Thank you for mansplaining the internet. And more well-intentioned people get caught up in the frenzy. Eventually, these sensationalized allegations become fact. In this instance, the smear campaign is driven by the lie that I, along with the Aftermath Foundation and Leah Remini Scientology and the Aftermath show production team, are unwilling to help Miriam. To be clear from the start, no one has ever told Miriam that the document she claims was withheld from her was ever in our possession or that it was privileged or confidential. This document in question is the affidavit they presented on the show as being an affidavit from her mother. Yet somehow, conveniently, when she needs this for a very legal case that she has going, magically no one can remember seeing it. Yet it is a graphic that you can see on season 2, episode 2. Or episode 1, rather. It's there on the screen. But of course, a court of law isn't going to go by a screenshot of a fucking TV show. They need the document. They need the affidavit. That would be in the notes section of Miriam's episode, of which there are many. That would have been a document that would have been scanned and reproduced however they reproduced it on screen. Producers of the show would have seen it if it were real. Or did they make that up for clicks and views? No one will know because nobody can see the document. Let me repeat something I've said many times before. One of the broad false allegations is that I'm currently withholding evidence of wrongdoing that I allegedly committed while I was in Scientology because I fear being prosecuted. That's a very telling sentence, Michael. I have been questioned, interviewed by the FBI and other law enforcement agencies on numerous occasions over the past 15 years, and have admitted to anything I knew or did, even if it meant incriminating myself. I don't believe you. In fact, I've spent literally hundreds of hours answering questions and providing documents, briefings, and assistance to law enforcement agencies around the United States and worldwide. Conveniently, though, however, you left Miriam out of those hundreds of hours. You didn't help her when she could have gotten her case going in California. Convenient. I never refused to answer any of their questions. I've done everything possible I could to persuade law enforcement to prosecute Scientology. Sure. The usual response from the FBI and the DOJ is that they need more recent information because of problems with the statute of limitations, even when I brought them witnesses and documents just a year or two old, which I've done numerous times over the last decades. I escaped in Scientology in 2007 after being in the hole and off OSA lines for several years before that. He really wants to emphasize he was off OSA lines, except for in 2006, he was in John Sweeney's face, acting as the head of OSA. So that's a fucking lie, Mike. There was a new claim that the recently released OSA documents were somehow proof of my involvement in crimes for which I was desperately trying to evade prosecution. All of those OSA documents were on my thumb drive when I escaped. I gave them to the FBI in the first meeting I had with them in 2010. A fact I've testified to under oath. That testimony was filed again a week ago in Leah Remini's civil case. I appreciate that many of those who claim to be experts on what I knew, or more often what I should have known, what they think I covered up, and I'm still covering up, were once in the Sea Org. Yes, Mike. Thank you for acknowledging the fact that I was, in fact, in the Sea Org. However, none of them were ever in any positions of significant authority in upper management and were not involved with external affairs. Correct. Only a handful of them have ever met David Miscavige. I did. Let alone worked directly for him, like you did. They really have no basis for the assumptions and conclusions they draw, though they try to sound as though they do. This is a Darvo moment. This is a Darvo moment to get you to be like, well, yeah, Nora couldn't possibly know what Mike Rinder knew because she was just a word clearer at CC. She's an idiot. Mike is only one who knows truth. I believe Mike, not crazy word clearer Nora lady who couldn't possibly put 2 + 2 = 4 together. She's an idiot. Yes, I was the head of OSA at various times over a long period. Correct. But that does not equate with knowing every heinous and illegal act going on in Scientology. That would be impossible. Would it? The problem with that, Mike, is that every heinous and illegal act in Scientology is reported on. And those reports go up a chain of command, at which you were at the top of the chain of command, or at the receiving end of David Miscavige's dispatch or a Marty Rathbun dispatch to handle the fuck out of a situation. So for you to say you didn't know absolutely every single thing that went on is a possibility. Okay. But for you to just strategically not know conveniently the things about the people who are out currently who you used for your television show and then just want to play dumb like Danny Masterson and fucking Miriam is a little too convenient. I knew about a lot of other stuff, but not that. Convenient. That the people that you know about still happen to be in the Sea Org. And you conveniently don't need to talk about that stuff because there's no civil or criminal lawsuits involving those people because they're still in. Convenient. What I do know is how Scientology follows exact procedures and policies dictated by Hubbard. These policies are unchanging. Correct. I detail in my book, please get the book, and in various other places what my role was. While I always had the job of spokesperson, correct, PR, for major media regardless of my position, I also held many other posts, including Chief Officer, CMO International, that's Commodores Messengers Org, ED Int Project Ops, RPF, or hey, twinsies, Mike, we were both on the RPF. LRH Personal PR Officer International, CMO International, book editor, and a Denzian of the whole. Now, guys, what he's not telling you is that some of those posts that he's listing were held simultaneously while he was the head of OSA because David Miscavige cleaned house and got rid of most of those people and was making people be double, triple, quadruple hatted. Can you also take Toby? Elliot, can you also take Toby? Can you do that right now because Landon's not here? Okay, thank you. When I was actually on post as the head of OSA, my primary function was to deal with matters that had come to the attention of Miscavige. For example, I spent years in Clearwater doing nothing but handling the Lisa McPherson criminal and civil cases. That's 1995 through 1997. During that time, nobody from OSA was allowed to distract me with anything unrelated to the McPherson cases. And as I had already explained to Miriam and law enforcement in her case, the details of her molestation was not something I'd been aware of until she told her story on the Aftermath show. Except, I don't believe that. The reason why I don't believe that is because on the Aftermath show, Mike revealed a very interesting tidbit off the cuff that stayed in the cut, that he was the one who orchestrated Miriam's mom being transferred from Australia to America, thus setting the stage for what happened to her at the hands of her father. Miriam was unaware of this at that time and had a very appropriate trauma response in the moment to not dive into that because all of her trauma was all over her, and she was trying to just make it through the interview, which Mike conveniently crafted and directed her so that, OSA was not mentioned or talked about during that case. Was I involved in fair game operations, of which I'm not proud when I was a Scientology executive? Absolutely. As I mentioned at the outset of the blog post, I've spent the last 15 years trying to atone for what I was involved in. That's debatable. Okay, so let's look what happened with Miriam. We feature her story in the Aftermath episode in 2017, correct? We were so incensed by what she told us. With her approval, we contacted the LAPD and arranged for 2 detectives to come to the location where we were shooting. That's not exactly what happened, as we know from Miriam. We shut down the production to brief them and for her to be interviewed. An official police report was filed, and the same detective we originally spoke with is still working on this case. Subsequent to the filming of the episode, I heard little or nothing from Miriam or other than occasional pleasantries until she emailed me on August 28th, 2023. This is also not true. Hi, Mike. Right? And so he's just going to dox everything that's going on here. Right? So he puts this private email between him and Miriam up here. She's trying to get some info because Australia needs some help. I'm very pleased. I was pleased to hear that Miriam might finally receive justice and reached out to A&E and the Aftermath production company immediately arranged for a password-protected link to be created to the episode, which I forwarded to Miriam. Okay. So there's the password-protected link. Okay. I received a reply from the detective thanking me for getting the link, asked me if it'd be possible to locate the affidavit from Miriam's mother. This is the card. This is where we find out that Miriam's mom did an affidavit. 20 days before the airing of this program, which Miriam, and they didn't tell Miriam that this had happened. Okay. She didn't learn of Miriam's abuse until 1998. And when she did, she divorced Miriam's father. So Mike was to not be distracted during the Lisa McPherson time between 1995 and 1997. In 1998, Miriam's case came to light. Mike was free from Lisa McPherson and the distractions thereof. So of course he knew. Of course he knew. I then set about trying to locate this affidavit. I spoke to Leah. She was trying to also find it. Contacted the production company as well, and A&E and individuals who worked on the program. They were freelancers, not employed by the production company. I was told by everyone I contacted they didn't have this document and didn't think everyone had ever had a copy, that it might not have ever been in their possession. Convenient. In the latter half of the year, various medical and other matters occurred, and unfortunately, further follow-up on this document was not something I was focused on. Okay, so, Mike got cancer. And so he couldn't keep trying to find it. Now, let's ask ourselves a hypothetical question that goes along with my theory here. Who do we know that escaped Scientology and was the only person on record to escape Scientology with a basket full of documents in their possession? Mike Rinder. Is it plausible then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that Mike Rinder knew that this affidavit was super important, and he was an executive producer in that year that the show was filmed and had access to all the series notes, the episode notes, everything else, okay? Is it plausible and probable that he could have absconded and destroyed that affidavit because, being Mike Rinder, the former head of OSA, the spy in chief, he would know exactly what would be the hot dog that could get them all in trouble. Because remember, he told us he couldn't be distracted with things during Lisa McPherson. And that was between 1995 and 1997. But Miriam's allegations came to light in 1998, when Mike was very much not distracted with Lisa McPherson anymore. Oh, man, Michael. On December 10th, Miriam wrote stating she found it odd that nobody could find such an important document and that it had been misplaced. I'm with you, Miriam. Okay, that's her email. Following day, I responded by saying I was now in direct contact with the attorney who represented the production company with respect to the show, but that the recollection from the executive at the production company after searching all their files was that the affidavit in question had never been given to them, only that its alleged existence was relayed verbally by Scientology attorneys. Now, in the matter of legal stuff, who would go on a verbal, what show, what lawyers at A&E would allow you to display an affidavit on the screen which is a legal document. You're legally swearing to something when you make an affidavit that they got through a game of telephone with Scientology's attorneys. There was so much horrific violence and underhanded criminal activities that Scientology was engaged in that was revealed during the interviewing of all of the participants of Scientology in the aftermath that A&E's lawyers determined we cannot put that on the air. Even though it's 100% true and happened to those people. But a affidavit that was just like, hey, Scientology, Kendrick Moxon calls up and goes, guys, so Miriam's mom just did an affidavit for us, and here's what it said. Just get some pen and paper. Could you write this down? Can you write it down real quick? I don't feel like sending it over. I can't spend money on faxes anymore. I'm broke. Okay, yep, thank you. There's a 0% chance that the A&E lawyers allowed a facetious affidavit to go on the air. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense. So what he's saying here, I don't think anybody actually talked to the lawyers. I don't think anyone actually talked to these people, because the only person relaying all this information is the one and only Mr. Mike Rinder, who's the only one who has the truth. He's the only one who knows the narrative. Where's the letter from the lawyers at A&E? Where's the letter from the production company? You don't have one because it never happened. Rachel's an executive, right? This is a supposed letter. Okay. The following day I responded by saying I was now in direct contact. Okay. And this says, Miriam, I've not found the documents. This is Mike's letter to Miriam. Rachel's an executive at the production company for the show IPC. Okay. That's the production company that put on the show. Miriam nudged me again on 23 December. I informed her I would contact the attorney again after Christmas to see if he had yet had the chance to search his back files. I'd asked him to do this as a favor to me. It's a favor now. It's a legal situation. If a lawyer is in possession of a legal document that somebody else needs for a case, one lawyer can ask the other lawyer through legal means to obtain that information. He's not my attorney and would not be compensated for this work, for looking through his files. I subsequently reached out to him after Christmas and informed Miriam I'd received an auto message back from him that he'd be out of the office until the new year. Convenient. Told her I would follow up. She also understood that neither Leah or I have access to anything related to the Aftermath production without going through A&E and or the production company. They own and control all the documents and the footage associated with the Aftermath. Correct. It is an owned property by A&E. We were never in charge of keeping records. We don't even have access to the episodes of the Aftermath. Anytime someone has needed a copy, even years after airing, we have to track down the right person to ask for a favor to upload the episode and send it to us, just as I did when I requested Miriam's episode. Even more importantly, if Leah, me, the production company, the attorney, or A&E did have a copy of this affidavit, we would have handed it over to Miriam and the detectives in a heartbeat. What reason would we have to not turn it over? Well, Mike, as you just explained, that puts you in the timeline. And we can't have that, can we, Kang? Can we? Even more importantly, if Leah and me, the production... the card that appeared on the Aftermath simply repeated what Scientology had told the production company and legal department. Our program never stated that we had seen or had possession of the affidavit. Scientology asserted that it had this affidavit. They did so to try and stop us from airing the episode. That's what Scientology does as a matter of course with media programs. They manufacture speed bumps and potholes. Okay, so Scientology had this affidavit, and Scientology supposedly called the show to be like, we have affidavit. Here's what it says. Why then is there no copy of it? Because it's an affidavit. It would exist somewhere in the universe. The affidavit was supposedly written 20 days before the airing of the episode in a last-ditch effort to discredit Miriam and our program and protect Miriam's mother and Scientology's reputation. Her mother refused to provide a sworn statement or testimony to the LAPD and Australian authorities in support of her daughter's case. They were trying to make it appear she had no relevant knowledge. There's nothing to see here. Like you're trying to do with yourself, right, Mike? If we had the actual affidavit, we would have read it or portions of it on air. something we did routinely throughout the series. So, but you made a card and you put it up saying in black and white that 20 days before, Miriam's mom swore to this in an affidavit. You didn't put on the card. We got a call from Scientology's lawyers claiming there's an affidavit saying this. You stated it as fact for the show. That the show aired at all was a major accomplishment, as was true for every episode. Lee and I fought on behalf of all of our contributors to ensure important parts of their stories were aired each week. Yeah, Mike and Leah were in the editing room, guys. Mike was in the editing room crafting the narrative of the show after the interviews. So don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. We routinely filmed 8 or more hours a day and then went to the editing bay to ensure the stories were accurate. See, I'm not lying. Included what was necessary for our contributors and contained all the important correct information about Scientology. Make sure it's correct, Mikey. It was often difficult, not because the people working on the show weren't amazing. Oh, thanks, Mike. But because they didn't know Scientology understands policies or know what was important to our brave contributors. The documentary series was exhausting, but we fought for the truth. The level of care we took was unprecedented in this business. Yes, oftentimes there was a lot of arguments in the editing bay that I was a witness to where the producers and hired editors wanted to cut the show differently. But Mike made sure that it was cut the correct way. And it was because they didn't understand Scientology. They understood a story, and they also understood what needed to be there. But Mike understood what would be damaging to him and to David Miscavige. On December 26th, Miriam emailed me again, talking about, getting the data from her dad. He said he could talk to her. January 5th. Love how Mike is doing this in full KR fashion. Time, place, form, and event. Wants to make sure he gets it all out. This is basically a knowledge report on Miriam. We spoke for an hour. She asked many hypothetical questions about what or would not happen within a Scientology based on my experience, knowledge of the organizations and policies. I answered all of her questions. Oh, God. And I informed her I was continuing to follow up with the attorney to get a final answer. Guys, we've been going a long time. I'm sorry. On her mother's affidavit, and that I would let her know when I heard back. Miriam told me that at this point, the affidavit would not be useful for any prosecution of her father, and that it was more for her curiosity. I told her that in any case, I would continue to follow up with the attorney until I had a definitive answer from him, though his memory was that Scientology never provided a copy. At this point, I became suspicious. Mike is getting upset. As questions did not seem relevant to the prosecution of her father. Given Miriam's statement that she had done a pretext recorded call with her father, I sent an email the following day. Did you record the calls we had? Mikey. What did you say in those calls? I did not express fear that I might be prosecuted for my crimes, as has now been falsely asserted. He underlined here, I would ask that any portions that anyone wants to use are checked with me first to ensure they are in context and accurately reflect my views. Hot dog. Mikey got caught. He got caught. He got lazy. He got lazy, guys. I was more concerned that something I'd said on the call might be taken out of context. What did you say? I've been told there was an ongoing campaign to get Mike Rinder removed from the board of Child USA. Yeah, you shouldn't be anywhere near victims of SA, Mike. Absolutely not. And was worried that a snippet or statement from the call could be twisted to make it appear like I had said something I'd not. To be a fly on the wall for that conversation, because clearly something really bad was said. It would have been quite simple for Miriam to reply and say, no, I did not record the calls, but she did not. After sending me plenty of emails asking me to do things for her and speaking for more than an hour on the phone, she fell silent and did not respond. Was I suspicious? Yes. And I think it's now fairly clear my suspicions were not unfounded. On January 8th, I emailed Miriam again, CCing both the New South Wales Police and LAPD detectives. Why? Here's a victim of childhood sexual assault who came to you in good faith because you had a piece of something that could have helped her. Then after you ran her around the bush for months, she realized, well, and after talking to the detectives involved, they were like, actually, we don't need that. Right? We'll just move forward with something else. You gave her a lot of really weird answers, Mike, because you're covering your ass. And now you're suspicious? Oh, you know you got caught, boy. So now he emails all the police because he's doing an OSA-style campaign and has to email the whole chain of command to cover his ass. Miriam, as you've not responded to the email below, I assume the answer is yes, you did record the calls. She never said that. The last question you asked bothered me as it was not designed to elicit information about your case, but possibly incriminating information about me. After the call, I looked up the information about Dick Hubbard. The reason I knew nothing about him is that I had become LRHPPRO in some months before his activities came to light. As you know, information is strictly compartmented, and I was no longer an OSA. He had to make sure his date on the timeline was correct, so he couldn't be implicated in yet another SA cover-up. If any of my assumptions are incorrect, please correct me. If you pass on the information you got to anyone other than law enforcement, please inform me who you told. Right, so he's telling the police, there's a campaign to remove me from Child USA. You guys help me. Help me. In response to the email, I received an automatic notification that Detective McCary was out of the office on an extended break until July. So I called the Nepean Police Department, as you do. Let me just call Australia. Right? Sure. And talked to a different detective. Detective Walker knew about the case and thanked me for the help that I provided. I forwarded him a copy of the emails because I got to tattle on Miriam to everybody I possibly can, because if I later build a case that she's harassing me and I want to discredit her more, I want to have it on record with the police ahead of time. Right? Got to make sure everything is on record. Okay? Always. Miriam didn't respond to the second email either. I wouldn't. I finally received full confirmation that from the attorney that he'd gone through his back files, never had a copy of the affidavit. At this point, I felt uncomfortable sending further information to Miriam, but giving her the benefit of the doubt that perhaps she'd not seen my earlier emails on January 6th and 8th, I emailed her, attaching the other two. Finally got the info from the lawyers. Okay. I called the Australian police, just so you know, FYI, filled them in, trying to give you every benefit of the doubt. Hope there's an explanation for what appears to be an underhanded illegal scheme that is ironically exactly what the people claim I did when I was in OSA 30 years ago. Darvo, 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 Darvo. Again, there's no response from Miriam, but on January 21st, I received an email from Detective McGarry that Miriam had told him she did not record the calls. Oh, shwoo. Shwoo, Mike. I responded saying I was relieved to hear this and that I had received final confirmation from the lawyer that nobody had a copy of that affidavit. Convenient. It was never provided by Scientology. I concluded by saying I've spent many hours trying to assist Miriam with this matter. I will remain willing to do anything I can to further assist. Yeah, myself. On the same day, Detective McCary emailed me about Miriam's phone calls. Claire Headley, for some reason, who's in this story, president of the Aftermath Foundation, received an email from Mike Brown, who claimed Miriam and I started collaborating in recent months, sharing my childhood SEER experience. This is when she began to confide in me and ask for my views and advice. Because she was being left with minimal feedback from Mr. Rinder about the events that should be pivotal in her case, we spoke of ways to clarify the gravity of the situation. So the detective tells Mike that Claire told him that Mike Brown emailed her. Why didn't Claire just tell Mike? Why are we still involving this law enforcement person? Oh, right. That's going to come later. Mike Brown made numerous false statements about what had transpired in the interactions between Miriam and me, including allegations that I'd lied to her, that she'd been gaslit, and that she was frankly a bit afraid of my answers. that she had been sent intimidating emails and that I've been actively withholding evidence from her case. That's exactly what you did, Mike. It's exactly what you did. Mike Brown, being an honorable active duty military person who survived the Sea Organization and got his mom out, is a far more reliable source and judge of character than you, sir. So if Mike Brown reads over communications that are going back and forth between someone and says, that guy's gaslighting you, I promise you, Mike Brown's telling the truth. According to Mike Brown, their behind the scenes collaboration, again, trying to make it nefarious when two people who are former cadets, former born-ins of the Sea Org, are communicating to each other to talk about their childhood trauma, to heal from it by helping each other out, is not a behind-the-scenes collaboration, Mike, just because it doesn't include you. Had been ongoing for some months during the time Miriam was asking me for my help. Yeah, because you're not very trustworthy, Mike. And Miriam went to someone she can trust. Apparently, she was pretending, again, more Darvo, that she was happy to talk with me for more than an hour just 2 weeks earlier. No, she was talking to you because you're the fucking guy who has the info, not because she was happy to do it. This is like, guys, the egotistical, maniacal, just like manic, I don't even know enough psychology words to describe this man. Like the fact that because someone's polite in a conversation, because they need information from someone who's dripping with evil and is scary to you now, even though you're in the real world and you're on another continent and you're safe away from them, but they can harm you and have harmed you in the past. To not understand the mental gymnastics you have to do to maintain your composure in a conversation like that, and then to gaslight her by saying, well, she was happy to talk to me 2 weeks ago. Must be Mike Brown getting in her ear. Like, sir, you are disgust. Okay. Apparently, she was pretending she was happy to talk with me for more than an hour just 2 weeks earlier, given her admission of doing pretext calls previously and her refusal to deny the simple question I posed. It seems reasonable to conclude perhaps you did, in fact, record those calls. Why would Miriam lie about that? If she had her only option was to deny having done so to the detective, as she told him, she knew it would have been illegal. So now we're going to accuse Miriam of an illegal act. Miriam is now a criminal, guys. Miriam's a criminal. Again, I'm the good guy. I'm the only one with the facts. Only one. Miriam's a criminal. Then on Monday, January 29th, after midnight, I received an email from Alex the Rabbit, which asked for responses to 16 allegations Miriam Francis was making about me. Now, Alex made this very clear in many subsequent videos that she sent those questions to Mike because she wanted to do a fair and balanced interview of Miriam. She wanted to give him an opportunity to answer or not answer or provide information to the questions that were being posed by Miriam. You know, because Rabbit was just a newcomer on the scene. She didn't know. It was a compilation of Scientology-esque, do you still beat your wife? It was not. And proven negative style questions about me and the Aftermath Foundation. Miriam had also recently asked for financial assistance from the Foundation for Mental Health Counseling using techniques being promoted by former Scientologist Jamie Mustard, who I believe has profit participation in these methods. More deception, more lies, more I'm the good guy, who, by the way, Mike, Mark, and Claire interviewed Jamie first about the shots, and they were all fucking stoked about it. Okay? They were going to be the heroes of the ex-Scientology community and help people heal from their trauma by getting this very much needed medical procedure. Right? But instead, as soon as Mike Brown and Jamie spoke out and said something critical of Mike Rinder of Papa Smurf, everything's canceled. I'm out. Miriam claimed, please hold, I need to respond to my wife. Guys, this has been going a long time. I apologize. Yes, that sounds great. Whew, I need some more water. I'm getting a little lightheaded. Miriam claimed that because the foundation's response was too slow for her liking, she was being gaslit and backlisted from receiving financial support. She also claimed the Aftermath Foundation had sought to deny her human rights because she was asked to sign a short waiver that anyone who received funds only after Aaron was removed, they put in a very Scientology-esque waiver that you're forced to sign, saying you'll never speak out or say anything negative about anybody on the board or the Aftermath Foundation itself. Like, fuck you. If you're going to fund them, that is not a standard waiver. That is not in any way, shape, or form a standard waiver. Almost forgot where my mute button was. All right. Nope. Wrong side. Okay. Whoa. Whoa. I exploded my screen. This waiver is the sort of document any foundation might use. No, it's not. Recommended by legal counsel. And especially a foundation that is the target of Scientology. You guys never had that before. You only had it after Aaron left and you started denying people who were associated with him because you were afraid that they would speak out. As predicted, one of the 16 questions posed by Rabbit was, no, it was posed by Miriam. It was not posed by Rabbit. Are you certain that it is appropriate for you to hold a position on any board which concerns itself with the protection of recovery for children from abuse? Child USA. Ironically, the work of Child USA is primarily focused on our very successful actions to abolish the statute of limitations for child sexual abuse. Yeah, you guys got a window open in 2016 that you totally didn't get hook your friend up with here. Or whatever year that was. It wasn't 2016. I take that back. Abolishing the statute of limitations is the last thing I'd be trying to accomplish if I were concerned about my possible criminal liability. Convenient, it still hasn't happened yet. I'm saddened that Miriam has been led down a path that exploited her trauma and pain. We all want justice for her and the others who have survived similar trauma in the hope there will not be any more victims like her in the future. I believe the prosecution of her abusive father is long overdue. Lee and I were always under the impression that we had done some good in giving Miriam and the others advice, and the other victims of Scientology a platform. We also wanted to open the door to helping others get their stories told. Oh, God, this is just so much Darvo. Due to the amount of hate spilled over onto them, this latest campaign has taken the toll on my wife and children. Now we're all hurting Christy and the kids. Something they neither asked for nor deserve. The unfair attacks are damaging to their mental and physical health, as well as mine. I prioritize the well-being of my family above everything, including ending the abuses of Scientology. Thus, I'm stepping back from social media and will instead focus on things I believe are essential to ending the abuses of Scientology. Something I believe can only be accomplished away from this toxicity. I will continue to work with law enforcement in their investigations against Scientology and assisting attorneys suing Scientology, provide documents, information, and briefings to elected officials, engage in select media and podcast interviews, and continue to pursue some confidential behind-the-scenes projects as long as I get paid for all those things. I thank you all for your support, blah, 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 blah. I have cancer. Okay. So it's a real big turn for somebody who claimed to have been so affected by Miriam's episode here in 2017, right? And went out of their way to make sure that Miriam and other people were not portrayed as liars, to flip the script when they are, in fact, under the gun in such a fantastically Darvo way. Like, this is a long ass confession with documents. He finally took out her police report, only after Miriam and many other people like myself pointed out, that was really bad form. he continued to do more and more and more posts, you know. And of course, he's back. He's back on social media. He's back on YouTube. He's back everywhere, crafting his narrative, talking with Lily. That's what he calls Leah. If we go to Mike Rinder's YouTube, he made an appearance in the chat on Mark and Claire's return, which is also convenient timing. Convenient that Mark and Claire are back now. Just in the nick of time. Just in the nick of time when all of this stuff, here's his site. You know, he's got 36,000 subscribers. Here's his videos. His last one was a month ago. His last live was 6 months ago. His community tab was from 6 months ago, which, oh, it's still that. It's still that, guys. Still that. Still hasn't moved on. Still protecting himself. Still making sure the Darvo is out there about Miriam. Still crafting that narrative. Getting his favorite attack dog to keep this narrative going about Aaron constantly. To keep the narrative going about Miriam. Right? Oh, like that one. Okay. So that, you know, he was hands off about that. And now he's back. Why would he come back right now? Leah got a new lawyer. The Jane Doe's case is going through. Miriam is doing really well. So convenient. And now Mark and Claire are back after spending time playing baseball or something with their kids. They are also back. To just, again, run in circles and not talk about the real stuff. Did they talk about the tremendous impact that the protests have and how proud they are of that? And how the Aftermath Foundation is now going to totally support the protests and help them out and give them assistance? No. Just more fluff, more, I don't know what their episode was even about. Let's see. So they came back. They did a live Q&A. It was a Q&A. We answer... Oh, I don't want to hear the intro. We answer the questions Scientology won't. Okay. There's no chapters here. You know. And of course, within 5 minutes, Mike showed up. Yeah. Here, they're pimping Christie's company. Good for them. Everybody should support that. She's a good lady, like I said. And, you know, helping those that choose to leave. We have exciting updates in terms of new people being helped to leave and start their lives over after escaping Scientology. Because the Aftermath Foundation, guys, don't forget, only helps you if you're newly out. If you're like me and you've been out, tough tits. I should have figured it out by now. All right. Let me finish up the comments here. I got so off on a tangent for an hour. And I think you're correct here. I do live rent-free in their life. This is 100% accurate. 100% rent-free. It becomes an LRH matter unless he has fled the country. Please leave a message after the beep. Fat Grammy says, Osafal says, if you can't be litigated, then they will pay you off. Where's my money, Davey? Where's my money? Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mena. I am addressing it. It took me maybe 10 minutes to understand that Scientology was crazy and dangerous. It took Rinder 20 years. Good job, Susie. Let's play devil's advocate and give Mike Rinder the benefit of the doubt that his beliefs were uncertain, and that means he did the rest of his awful things by choice and power. So that's nice. Yeah. I wish, Steffi. I wish. Christine needs to pull a Katie Holmes pronto. Narcissists ruin lives. They do. I lost half of my husband's family after he died of a sudden heart attack because one of his brothers, thankfully the ones that meant the most to me, including my 4 stepchildren and his younger brothers, stood by me. Sometimes you have to let things go. Those that know me stand by me. All right, Karen. I'm sorry that happened. That's awful. But yeah, you got some real ones there. You've got some real ones. Oh, comment 3. Basically, my brother-in-law couldn't understand why my husband left everything to me and nothing to him. He became like a scavenger wanting things. I've had Leah's book for a couple of years, but haven't read it. Same with Mike Rinder's. It seems to me that the powerful ex-Scientologies couldn't handle the loss of their power, and they're trying to regain it. Yes, accurate. You should read Leah's. Leah's is good. It's a good read. Or do the Audible. It's her telling you the book. It's fantastic. I knew that Tony Ortega was a hack when during the first DM trial recess, he would try to be the first to get the scoop and run outside with his phone and report. It was so windy and loud. Yeah. Pippi Longstocking forever. Holy cow, Nora. If it weren't real life, it would be a great series. Yes. Ooh, Karen. I could never cotton to Mr. Rinder. Mike Rinder. Found him smug and holier than thou. Hey-o.
That's, I put on the voice.
That is for using the Chris Shelton. Gosh, Nora, this live is so packed with info, I will have to watch it again. Yes. Now I understand where you're headed, Nora. Holy crap. I really hope that Leah Remini wins the lawsuit. However, what was it she said to Serge about speaking about kids in Scientology? I don't have a dog in that fight. Sorry, that's horrific. Yeah. Guys, people can say bad things and still need justice, right? People can do bad things and still do something good. Case in point, Mike Rinder. Okay. He may have done a couple of good things since he's been outside the walls of Scientology. It doesn't mean the other things aren't bad, and it doesn't mean he doesn't need to be accountable for them. Once given cred by Remini, what does he do? He befriends another predator, helps him target survivors in order to prevent their access to legal redress as a sitting member on 2 boards. Yes, RG. And if you guys don't know what RG is talking about, RG's talking about the lawyer that Mike Rinder so conveniently recommended to many people who is now under prosecution in his home state of Pennsylvania and may lose his law license for extramarital shenanigans with people he was defending. And see, Mike Rinder's waiting for his Marty payoff money. Yeah, could be. Could be. Why did this get so small? There we go. Let's make these big again. What Mike Rinder said about little Davy, please, LRH was a saint. I mean, what? Yeah, exactly. I watched your late night live yesterday on replay this morning. I was like, what the fuck? Liz lost her male fiance. What the fuck is this? Yeah, we were like in a multiverse version of what's going on. Even terrible people get terrible diseases. Guys, I've been talking for 3 hours. Even terrible people get terrible diseases. Doesn't give them a free pass. Sorry if that sounds insensitive. This is true. There's also something annoyingly patriarchal about what she wrote in this GoFundMe. Yeah. Also, she cannot wrap her mind around the fact that Liz is the gay. As a Catholic, she couldn't just support a gay person. Had to be a widowed straight mom. Then it was okay. Did I see that Voodoo Kitty had the gall to comment? Yeah. Sorry I'm late. I'm starting from the beginning because I can't miss any of my favorite shit thrower. All right, Tim. Thank you. It's a long one. Gave you a thumbs up, but you seem so excited getting thumbs down. Should I change it? No, you can keep your thumbs up. I appreciate the thumbs ups. I just like to acknowledge the thumbs downs because all the trolls, all of OSA, everybody, David Miscavige, if you're here, thanks for being here. It's a tangled web, but who better to untangle it than an ex-Seerg members who were drilled to pull a string? Yes. Scientology created the characters who will be their downfall. Digging. Where did the rest go? Digging their own grave. Yes. Comment, Tom and Katie were married on November 16th, 2006. I Googled it. Duh. Yeah. Yeah. I swear to my dying days that Mike Rinder is still a Scientologist and he's running a long game. Katie C, with a narcissist, you can have every receipt and they will still deny, and double down, deny. Correct, Katie. Correct. Mina, do you think Chris Shelton has a clue is being paid or is just being manipulated? I think he is so stuck on the button of self-importance that he honestly believes that he knows everything, just like Mike. But I think he is completely out of the loop. Completely does not know that he is in yet again another Scientology shell game. But also, Chris didn't leave Scientology willingly, right? He was declared and then, oh, God, guys, my hat is crooked. There we go. And then did the steps to get back in Scientology and only started speaking out about Scientology because the girl he liked ditched him. If that girl had accepted Chris back into the fold of Scientology, Chris would still be a Scientologist. He's even said that. So, yeah. Can I give my dog an Ativan? She's driving me to drink. Just kidding. I would never do that. I might need an extra, though. They do have doggy tranquilizers. Check with your vet because we had to give some to our doodle after he had his huevos removed. And, yeah, he was very peaceful. But we had to do that because he was, trying to bite at the stitches and things. And he had the cone and then he would run around the house with the cone and he wasn't supposed to run and stuff. So, yeah. But check with your vet. Do you think he's still in contact with Rathbun? Could be. I mean, I don't know. They're best friends. Why not? But, Marty said some pretty not nice things about him on the internet. Notice he's never gone after Marty the same way that he's gone after Miriam. Interesting. Didn't dedicate an enormous blog posts and other things and getting a letter from a lawyer to Marty Rathbun. Abraham Arik, the other half of Sins of Scientology. Rinder is such a grateful fella, huh? Way to show appreciation to he who gave you a hand when you first came out. Yeah. There we go. Marilee, she got the same messages on Reddit. Yep. Yeah, she did. Oh, B. Oh, Sonny. The Mother Baggins, the underground bunker is where Stephanie is keeping Mike until he loves her back. That's good. I like that. I like that. Hi, baby girl. Thank you. Comment, ignored her email based on how much time? How many emails do you think she gets back being a public on YouTube? You've never spoken before privately. It's easy to assume Liz hadn't seen it, right? Like, Stephanie, why are you so like baby reindeer? It's baby Rinder on crack and single white female and misery all rolled into one. Nisa, no, they are not the mob because none of them are allowed to put their hands on each other. Don't forget the smear campaign post also originally included a full unredacted police report for Miriam. That was the absolute lowest thing. Yes, Lanigan, yes. The way you used your resources to paint this picture is very compelling. People over the years have said Mike is still Osa. This live, I have to expand it, is really shows why that isn't such a crazy claim. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What I'm hearing is that Mike Rinder's theme song is It Wasn't Me by Shaggy. Correct, Rosalind, correct. Because the words of Rinder are just keyboard warriors. Yeah, you are. And I love you, warriors. Thank you for being here. Reconnecting, my girl. People who do emotional blackmail use fog, fear, obligation, and guilt. Ooh, to manipulate people. Sorry, baby girl. Mike Rinder is a master fog creator. Oh, I've never heard of fog before, Ree. Thank you. This is amazing. I like this fog. I mean, I don't like fog, but I like this because all that stuff is clearly that. Oh, my goodness. Mike Rinder is such a liar. I agreed. Irrelevant Panda in the house. I'm a natural skeptic, so I won't say I'm 100% on it, but I will say this. Mike Rinder's behavior since the Masterson trial is indistinguishable from an op, especially with Miriam and the look-back window. Correct. She's at it again. Oh, did I see the newest short about Nora and Marilyn? Oh, they're making content about me, guys. They love me so much. They don't have anything else to do. Like, you have some decent videography making skills. Fucking help take down Scientology, you know? Make one of those about Scientology. If you're really interested in taking down Scientology, talk about Scientology. Why am I talking about Mike Rinder for 3 hours? Because he's helping Scientology to hurt activists outside and orchestrating all this noise. Oh, God. Hi, Nora, longtime lurker. Can't even imagine how hurtful Stephanie actions have been to the original Liz whose fiance died. Right? Let alone SPTV Liz. It's horrendous. Exactly. Like, oh my God, this poor lady. Other Liz Ferris, who lost your fiance tragically to a heart attack. If you need help, please reach out. We will actually help people with your actual GoFundMe. Tim Mick, Aaron did a video a while back claiming Marty was blackmailed by Scientology with pictures of Marty beating his foster child. He probably didn't talk to Rinder, though he thought he was a spy. Could be. I mean, I don't think those accusations are true at all. It's not a true thing, but it's something Scientology would do. I may not know Mike Rinder, but I'm very familiar with abusive, emotionally stunted 50-year-olds, and they are not quick to change their behaviors. Just saying, okay, Nat, okay. Road. Comment, but didn't he, Claire Mark, and other in the top go out in big news article that they escaped from the church, so they are also then undercover? Amy Scobie's been very quiet lately. Amy Scobie got scared off the internet after we pointed out her bad deeds and her trying to be like a Christian now. That is not a mockery to any actual Christians. But like she just decided she wasn't going to speak anymore because it was all just, she had to go pray on it. She's probably still praying on it because she did a lot of bad things and hurt a lot of people. But she's going to pray on it. Sandy McKenna, I love you, girl. It really blows my mind that the dozens of hours spent investigating the Lisa McPherson case, not once did I come across Mike Rinder's name. Interesting. But he was not to be distracted with anything else. He was only doing that. Interesting. He likes to keep his name out of stuff, Sandy, because he's the master spy. Tim Mick, this is the best timeline I've ever seen. Nora, you're an amazing storyteller. Love this video. Thank you. It makes me laugh the way he always speaks about the info papers he dumped to the FBI. He didn't kept a copy. He didn't choose what to give. He has nothing more to do with what happened. Right, Kate? God, so stupid. Kraken Studio, the real bootay. Let's just say there was never an affidavit. The attack from Mike Rinder to Miriam was vile in his true colors. He cannot see that we see through the smoke blowing out his ass back into his mouth. Yeah. Because who told the lawyers that there was an affidavit in the first place? That's the real question. Did Mike take that call? Did they call the lawyers directly? Yeah. This has Mike's hands all over it. Karen McCourt, I should record my calls because I can't remember things. I have fibromyalgia fog. Well, I don't know about that. It is illegal in some states. Most states are two-party consent, so check with your lawyers. RG, I'm very glad for his narcissism. The more he talks, the more he can be held accountable. Please keep this up, Mike. Here's hoping it happens before you leave. Yes. I think he doth protest too much, says Karen. I'm about 40 minutes away from Portland. I'd love to join you on your next protest day. I only have one video on my channel. I've been wanting to stream live, but I don't like going alone. Okay. I'll let you know. Abraham Arik. Because Miriam gets a kick of all this, enjoys reliving her trauma. Wake up, Rinder. Yeah, like, what kind of a sick mofo would insist that somebody is, like, happy to talk about this? What in the actual frackin' what? Nora, little Davy literally looks like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. They talked about meeting with the police near some Scientology location. Okay. Yeah, there was supposedly an FBI raid, and then it got called off, blah, 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 blah. I've heard any support for the Obolinski law. Nope. Yeah, exactly. Where's all their fucking advocacy for Serge after they used him as a fucking, token for their foundation? Don't get me started on Serge Obolinski, guys, and the way they used that poor man. Didn't even get him hands. They claim, oh, we got him hands. I'm sorry. I'm going to go off for a second. Those are the Medicare hands. Medicare gave those to him. You didn't buy him hands. You didn't go to a manufacturer of actual robotic hands and be like, we're going to buy our friend these hands because he deserves hands and not hooks from the 1950s. Shut the God. Oh, don't get me started on the Mark and Claire fucking vanity project that is called the Serge Obolinski story video that they made. It's disgusting. Okay. I'm done being enraged about that. If I had the money for Serge's hands, I'd buy it for him myself. I don't. I have 4 kids to feed and dogs that are staring at me right now because I haven't pet them in hours. Okay. Does Mike try to protect Scientology as an institution and not as a company? He seems to be enjoy being out only while Dave is in charge. He is a company man because, as we know, Scientology is a corporate entity that has tax-exempt status. So he's absolutely a company man. And Battles, it still gets my goat that I was so duped by all those people on the Aftermath and believed every word they said. Once I started listening to other channels like Protesters and Second Gens, yeah. I mean, here's the deal. The contributors, the people who were on the Aftermath show, absolutely poured their heart out and told their story, okay? That no lies told there. No lies told. But, yeah, the people on the foundation have been very carefully covering their ass for decades. They also talked about themselves a lot. I had to turn it off. Can't watch them anymore. Yeah, that's apparently what happened. It's Mom. It's Mom, Toby. Help him out. My wife is home and the dog is going crazy. Yeah, that's basically all the show was about, was them. Yeah. Much cooler. Nora, you rock. Thank you. You rock. Rinder himself said many times how he still did tons of dirty work for the cult from the hole. Dumbasses. Yeah. The award that he got money at Penguin went to Mike Rinder's head. Yeah. He got a grant. He wrote the book. He was ahead of us in and thinks he can be the head now out. Yeah. No, he's not in charge. He's not in charge. You didn't get the dog nudicles. I don't know what that is. Dog nudicles. Mike is like a mosquito. You swat at it, but it keeps coming back. Correct, Cricket. I'd say Chris Shelton was also a Scientology side, but he's too stupid. And he's a nobody. Flea Factory, can we just take a moment to honor whoever came up with Baby Rinder? I don't remember. It was a comment. I have usurped it. I have taken it. But then again, I bow to you. Thank you. Thank you. Mike is so egotistical. They need to make an over-the-counter medication for verbal diarrhea. Absolutely. Lynn Valdez, them giving hands provided by Medicare is like Oprah giving away donated cars. Correct. Correct. Nora should read the comments in everyone's channel. She really brings them to life. That might be my new activity. It just Nora reads. Thank you, my love. I'm getting handed a frosty beverage. Oh, can you hand me one of those beers? I wanted to show them. I got this beer and it cracked me up, and my wife noticed it first that it's a Scientology thing. This is not sponsored by Deschutes. It's a local beer company here in Oregon. If you're not 21 and over, please avert your eyes from the screen. Okay, so this is their Lemonade Anytime Shandy. Okay, now it is listed. Guys, don't need to show off for mom. You've been quiet and great the whole time. Sip, savor, and seize the moment with bright lemonade flavor blended into crisp, sessionable beer and classic and refreshing shandy, good anytime. So a sessionable beer, I had to look that up. What is a sessionable beer? Because I was like, wait a minute. I had to word clear that because then I was like, can I drink one of these and have an auditing session? Technically, yes, because that's what it means. In a session of drinking beer, consuming one of these will not put you over the legal limit unless your weight, could do that, because it's only like 0.2 to 0.5% alcohol, 0.5. So yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have those fake. No, I didn't get those for my dog. I don't want to see doggy testicles while I'm walking him. I'm the gay, guys. I don't want to see testicles. And we'll be not be making that. Let me go here. Ken's channel threw a super chat in there a while back. I think it chapped Mark and Mike that Aaron was the star of the Three Amigos, and his channel kept growing, and the great Mike Rinder gained 50 people and a tuna sandwich. Yeah. Karen McCord, I love your tangents. Well, thank you. And thank you for your super chat. Guys, we have literally been here. I think this is the longest live I've ever done. I did not mean for it to be over 3 hours long. I wanted to lay this out because it needs to be said. It needs to be shown. It needs to be known that this is, what's going on. And even the minor minions can't get it right. Because even now, Sunny's still trying to change it. Sunny's still trying to change it in real time. Sunny, thank you for watching. I hope you're one of the downvotes. I really do. Because engagement, Sunny. Here we go. Edit. See comments below. I had my dates wrong in the original post, but still, the math doesn't add up for Rinder to have been running an OSA op on Leah. Sunny, it does. I just did a whole presentation about that. Now my wife has brought home dinner, and so I am. I'm going to go eat some dinner. I just wanted to see, is anybody covering this live for me? It doesn't look like it. Sometimes I can't see the things. I have to, go to another thing. I don't want to bother. You guys can tell me, all right, on the flippity dippity. I am so happy you were all here with me. I thank you all so much for tuning in, okay? I love you all. This has been amazing. And I will catch you all, even the haters, on the flippity dippity.